Well, good morning, America. Good morning. How are we this morning? Sorry, we had a funny delay there. Welcome to America's Voice. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be with you for 3 hours this morning. It is 6:07 a.m. and we are going to have we're going to have a special guest this morning from 7 to 9. Doreen Hannes will be joining us. She is the author of the truthfarmer.com. Truth Farmer is a blog in reference to food issues and farming issues and GMOs and that type of thing. Well-educated, well-rounded on the subject. She'll be joining with us this morning. She also is a coordinator and heavily involved in the Property Rights Congress group. So you can find both of those websites, truthfarmer.com and also prcnews.org. That's PRC, like Property Rights Congress, news.org. Encourage you to get to both of those websites and educate yourself so that you can have some interesting dialogue with Doreen when she joins us this morning at 7 a.m. Current time is 6:08. It is Saturday morning, brisk and chilly, and apparently the Mayan calendar was misinterpreted by a lot of folk because, well, I'm here and you're listening, so hey, can't be all accurate. If it were, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? So we have a lot of news going on this morning in reference to a number of issues, not the least of which is, of course, the escalating calls for gun control. But I think that the media has been kind of carrying on a soliloquy and talking to itself rather than actually having an intelligent conversation with Americans. The reason why I say that is because if you look at the behavior of Americans and you look at the activities that are happening, you'll recognize immediately that the real issue here is not one where Americans are screaming for gun control. They're not. What they are asking for is protection for their children. What they are asking for is a new approach to the problem. They're looking for strong mental health limitations or laws that would enable us to, when we find someone who has a mental health illness, be able to take action before that person goes off the deep end. No one in the media is talking about mental health. They're all talking about banning guns, but we all know that banning guns is hardly a solution to the problem. You know, if you have people who are mentally unbalanced, for whatever reason, the issue is that they're going to be able to obtain a firearm or a weapon of some sort. You haven't heard a peep from the media in reference to the guy in China who stood outside of a school and slashed 23 kids the same day. Now, he wasn't carrying a weapon. I mean, not a firearm at any rate. He was carrying a knife. He slashed 23 kindergarten school kids. But the media is absolutely silent about that. Does that mean that we should therefore bar anyone from carrying or owning or possessing a knife? How are we supposed to handle our veggies at home? I mean, what are we going to do? Everything is going to get mashed? No more knives? I mean, it's ridiculous. The problem is behavior, not tools. Firearms are nothing more than tools. Behavior is the problem. And until our society comes to grips with the fact that we have a society that is, for all intents and purposes, out of control, this problem isn't going to cease. It's not going to end. Communist China came out the other day and made a declaration that Americans should be disarmed. Well, wouldn't that be just fine with them? The last time that happened, Chairman Mao was responsible and 60 million people died. So, with all due respect to China, I think they can keep their gun control, and we'll just move right along in our pace. Thank you very much. This administration, as we know, is radical in its nature and radical in its beliefs and ideas. Its ideology is globalist. Its ideology is totalitarian. Its ideology is tyrannical. It wants to be your master from crib to grave, birth to death. That is the principle, that is the concept, that is the goal. They're working to achieve it very, very hard. You can see that in almost every step they take, almost every move they make. They are clearly intending to destroy the fabric and the foundation of the United States of America. Now, Obama, as an individual, has the best interests of Obama and his agenda at heart, not yours. His goal, his ideas are not beneficial to the United States of America. He's doing everything he can to tear down the nation that has been built over hundreds of years and generations. He's doing everything he can to tear the foundations out from underneath that building by shredding and tearing apart our Constitution. He's using an activist judiciary. He's using a Department of Justice that is as corrupt as the day is long. And he's using people like Napolitano on the Department of Homeland Security to erode our privacy, to erode our base foundational rights and freedoms. I mean, you don't have to look far to understand where the problem lies. Let's just take, for example, the Department of Homeland Security. We know that they've done a ton of different things that are against the best interests of American citizens. I mean, it's a domestic agency. They bought 2.5 billion rounds of ammunition. Where are they going to use all that ammo? I'm asking, straight out, something Congress seems to be unable or incapable or unwilling to do. I'm asking the question straight up. What are you going to do with all that ammo? Silence. Why? Because if Americans understood what the Department of Homeland Security's motivation was to purchase and obtain all that ammo, the next question would be, what are your long-range plans here? I mean, you can't. Department of Homeland Security cannot come up with an answer that doesn't generate a host of other questions that brings into question their entire philosophy about who and what the American people are. Are we sheep and cattle to be led to the slaughter, or are we free and liberated individuals? You can't be free and liberated if your government is holding a gun to your head. So the simple fact that they have purchased all that ammunition and are building up a surveillance system that is just bar none. I mean, folks, this stuff that they're doing on surveillance makes 1984 look tame. It does. Monitoring everything that we do, everything we say, everywhere we go, all of our activities, online, offline, it doesn't matter. Google came out the other day and made an announcement very quietly that they are going to merge your online database with your offline database. Now, let's think about this for a minute. Google has an enormous amount of information on people. They track everything that you do on the internet, everything that you do in terms of your searching, and all of your activity, what sites you visit, all of the activity that you utilize on the web. If you've got an email account, they monitor that. Now they're going to conjoin the online database with the offline database. What is the offline database? Well, this is a record of all of the things that you purchase with your credit card when you go to the store and you scan your shopper's card so you get a discount or you get points or whatever. It is all the credit card purchases you make, the frequent flyer miles you gain. It's taking basically two databases and conjoining and merging them together. Now, what's the purpose behind that? Well, from their standpoint, their goal is to be able to say, we can sell this data to marketers who want to be able to offer you products that are in line with your personal preferences. So the idea being that you might get online shortly, and the fact that you bought let's say a jacket from Amazon.com, right? So you purchased a jacket, or you bought a jacket at a mall with a credit card. And now the next thing you know, they're going to be offering you a pair of jeans that matches that jacket. Do you get the idea? So you purchased a brand new car. Next thing you know, when you get online, you're going to see ads for accessories that will fit your car. Floor mats that fit your car. Get it? Now, the concept of that, when you tie that together, we'll be back.
You open your mind to a world of adventure. Visit new places.
Where am I?
Encounter new friends.
Fate has brought you here, John Carter.
And discover the power of reading.
Anything is possible.
Go to read.gov to read A Princess of Mars, the first novel to feature John Carter.
Only you can unlock this mystery.
A new world awaits. Read. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
The holidays are here. Come to Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance to find the special gifts that will really be appreciated. We have a variety of stocking stuffers ranging from Kaito radios and life straws to wave shields for your cell phone. We also have Berkey and Katadyn water filters for the health-conscious person. Also, Wise Foods and Lodge cookware to make delicious meals for the whole family. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, located a half-mile east of Walmart on Highway 62 in Mountain Home. 870-492-4030.
Sorry, folks, I ran over my break there. I got wrapped up in the conversation. What was I thinking? I love this groove. By the way, I'd like to hear your comments on our new bump music. I got this from a young guy in Romania. He wrote this. Did a little bit of editing to it, but I love it. Hang on, caller. We'll be right with you. I think it's a great groove. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mike.
Well, do you like that music or not?
Not much.
It's not Merle Haggard, right?
I just wanted to tell you that Thursday night, and I never watched this Piers Morgan.
Yeah. What an idiot,
But I just happened to turn over there. He had on Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, I saw it.
And they had their little to-do. Anyway, the only thing, I guess he read him off.
Did you see him interview Larry Pratt from Gun Owners of America the other day?
Yes, I did.
That was absolutely, I'm shameful.
Well, the guy was outnumbered, as they said.
Yeah, in wits.
That, and plus he talks, Piers Morgan talks breathing in and breathing out. He never...
I know. But
he is real poison with this gun control. But anyway,
he really is, yeah.
The only thing that Jesse didn't tell him, and I thought Jesse done pretty good, but the only thing he didn't tell him is in 1940, when the war was just getting ready to start in Europe, the English had been disarmed. I just read this about a week ago.
Okay.
They already had gun control in 1940. Nobody had a weapon. And they were getting ready to be, invaded by Germany.
Right.
And thousands of Americans sent guns to England.
Voluntarily, yeah.
Yeah, American people donated guns to send over there. went by train around to different places in England and handed these guns out. Anyway, that kind of caused Germany not to invade them because they knew about this.
Right.
And I wish he would have told Piers Morgan that was your own country.
Right, not to mention the fact that, Piers, you may not have been here had Americans not volunteered to send our weapons over to you under the Lend-Lease program, right?
Exactly.
Because your father or mother might not have made it through the war.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't know that. I know I've told several. They never heard that.
They called,
and I said, yeah, well, it's true. And I said, what did they do now? England has let them disarm them again.
Yeah.
And
how stupid, right?
Yeah, my understanding is they're trying to get their weapons back. Australia too.
Yeah, I've got a video up on the website about Australia and England where they're warning Americans, do not give up your guns. It shows them protesting in the streets, marching on their capitals or parliaments and demanding their gun rights back. And of course their government's looking at them and saying, pshaw, you're never going to get those back. And it's amazing that these people are actually storming their own parliaments, demanding their gun rights back. And of course, you know, they're smoking dope if they think their government's going to do that. But the simple reality is that now they realize the foolishness of their ways. There's some statistics up there about Australia, which gave up their rights in '96, and their home invasion rate went up 69%.
Exactly.
I mean, that is stunning, folks. If you don't, I mean, think about that. Basically, what happens is all of the criminals who are not going to turn their guns in because they're already of the criminal mind, basically now know that everybody is disarmed. I mean, it's the stupidest thing you could imagine, and yet it was the most obvious thing to happen.
Well, it made me sick, too, to watch them in Connecticut handing all their guns into the police department. They had 1,100 and something.
And that's
already had been turned in, and I hated to see
crazy.
That. I really did.
And guess what? If you think that those prize pieces are getting destroyed, you're smoking weed or something. Because
yeah, you're right there.
I can tell you this right now. I know law enforcement departments will sit there and cherry pick through that and say, "Wow, this is a prize Colt, and I'm not getting rid of this. This thing might be worth $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, right?" And
yeah,
so,
not only that, I'll tell you another thing. About 15, 20 years ago, we used to have a place to go shoot on the levee out of St. Louis on the other side of the river in Illinois. And we were shooting 22s, but anyway, Illinois State Trooper car pulled up, and we thought, well, we're in trouble here. Well, they got out, and they started loading guns and shooting. It was a big coal bank, and it was just a safe place to shoot. But anyway, I walked up there and I said, I thought you guys had a good place to shoot. He said, these are just guns that was confiscated over the last year. We come out here and shoot them, see which ones are good, which ones are not, and we keep the good ones and we throw the others, destroy the others.
Yep.
So yeah, they keep them, the good ones.
There's no denying it. And this whole issue on gun control is, got legs because the media wants it to have legs, because that's their greatest dream. That's their absolute, dream scenario is for America to be disarmed.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, it's so hypocritical on its face, because all of the people who are sitting there and declaring that firearms are so evil in their lifespan, if you will, are the same people who all have armed security protecting them. And it's okay as long as you can afford it. But for the rest of us, well, it's the let 'em eat cake Marie Antoinette scenario, right? So
sure, and that's what it's all about when you see how vicious they were against Wayne LaPierre or anybody.
Yeah,
anybody.
Yeah, he's got blood on his hands. Come on, people.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
It started 4 years ago because Obama said this is what he was going to do in his second term.
Right.
And he's been coming for 4 years, and he's finally here, and he's got it out in the open what he's going to do.
Sure, and he's not hiding it anymore. I told our listeners that once he got this second term going here, we would see the face come off we would see the mask come off the face of Satan. And I don't mean that in a biblical sense. I'm not trying to claim he's the beast or some other thing. I'm just saying that, we're going to see the mask come off the face of pure evil. Because I truly believe that he is evil in its truest natural form.
Well, I know that he wants to bring this country down.
Absolutely.
And that's he hasn't made a secret of that. He comes out and tells people.
Yeah, but they don't believe him, even when he says it.
When you talk to people, they say he's not going to do that.
He doesn't even have to be the father of lies, because people don't believe what he tells them in the first place. It's just ridiculous.
51% of them love him.
Well, it's the 49% of us who are going to have to fight, to hold this thing together.
Well,
and I have to tell you, I saw a thing the other day. If you guys are not familiar with oathkeepers.org, I encourage you to get over there and read a commitment and a statement from the founder, Stuart Rhodes, where he talks about
two people in my family that's in law enforcement, and I ask both of them that when it comes to confiscating weapons, I said, if they say hand a policeman, a trooper, anybody, 5 or 6 names and say, these, I want you to go out and pick these weapons up at these people's. I said, would you do it? Both of them said, why, no. I said, why? I said, you'll probably lose your job. Both of them said they took an oath not to do that, and they intend to live up to it. And I said, well, good. You made me feel a little better. And both of them said that if weapons are confiscated, it won't be by the police. He said, I don't know about the National Guard, but it won't be by the police.
Yeah. Well,
it made me feel better.
Yeah, there was a new article out in Natural News that law enforcement officials and U.S. soldiers say they will not enforce gun confiscation. But, and listen, to a certain extent, it may not be all up to them. I mean, already we've heard that the goal of our national government is to either use National Guard troops to accomplish this, just like they did during Katrina, as an example, or potentially even UN troops. I mean, if they sign this gun treaty, then they can turn around and say, well, we're going to bring NATO or UN troops in to accomplish this, and they'll have ruling control over our military. Which, let me tell you something, folks. They start to pull a stunt like that, and they're going to have a civil war on their hands, because Americans aren't going to fall for that.
No, and I don't think they still have to probably come through the police department, but state troopers and everything else. But don't you know it's going to be interesting, Mike? Very interesting.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, folks, but we're in the waning days of freedom here, Hey, listen, you can hear that music you hate playing in the background there, so that means a break's coming up.
Good morning.
Have a great day. All right, folks, find us on americasvoicenow.org and facebook.com/americasvoicenow. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The first family has arrived in Honolulu early this morning to spend Christmas in Hawaii before departing.
President Obama said he's still committed to reaching some sort of deal before year's end.
Whether it happens all at once or whether it happens in several different steps.
He called on congressional leaders to draw up a plan that would stop a middle-class tax hike, extend unemployment benefits, and start a process on deficit reduction and growth.
Fox Radio's Mike McElroy.
Earlier, House Speaker John Boehner complained the president isn't taking deficit reduction seriously.
And he simply won't deal honestly with entitlement reform and the big issues that are facing our country.
Boehner said he's tried. Now he says the White House and Democrats need to offer something.
And the Iraqi veteran jailed in Mexico after trying to carry an heirloom shotgun across the border has been freed and reunited with family members in the U.S. Fox News, we report, you decide.
This is Jana with Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains and invite you to test drive a new Dodge Dart. The Dart is loaded with innovative technology, class-leading safety features, and clever functionality. The new Dodge Dart sets a new standard in the compact car segment by offering unmatched personalization, roominess, style, functionality, and fun-to-drive dynamics. We have them now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, during the big finish of 2012, where buying a vehicle is simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 51 degrees. Later on, we have a low around 35 and mostly clear on Sunday. It'll be mostly sunny out there with a high near 54. Sunday night, we have a low around 39. Monday, partly sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
We are back. I want to just remind you guys about a couple of things and a couple of sponsors. The battery station at 303 Washington Avenue is a new sponsor for us. I want to thank those guys for sponsoring our show during the week. They sponsor our Bullet Points morning soliloquy, if you will. You can reach those guys at 257-7799, and you can find them on the web also at batterystation.com. The guy down there, Kevin, is a friend of mine, and let me just give you guys a quick heads up on some of the stuff that's down there because, by the way, they are open today. From now on, they're going to be open on Saturdays. They used to be open 5 days a week, 9 to 5. But today, being Saturday, they're going to be open this morning, 9 to 5, and they're going to continue being open on Saturday going forward. So that's great news for those of you who ordinarily, couldn't get into town unless it was a weekend or something, right? So they have a couple of things that you need to be aware of. One, they are running, or we're closing out the last collection stuff on the 10th annual food troop drive that they do for the 91st Airborne Cavalry Hatchet Squadron. They've been doing this for 10 years out of their pocket, and what they essentially do is they collect things that our military guys need over in Afghanistan. Now, the stuff that they send over there is, you have to realize these guys don't get a chance when they're out in a forward operating base, or what's called a FOB. They don't get an opportunity to shower, and I'm not kidding you folks, for 5-6 weeks at a time. So the battery station has been collecting things like unscented baby wipes, because that's about the best hygiene that they can get their hands on. Some of those alcohol hand cleaner kits, cards, any kind of food product that's got to be dry food and no cans. If it's going to go over there, it has to be like some tuna and salmon and things like that in a foil pouch. Prefer not to send cans just because of the weight issue. And they send these boxes over to these fellas over in Afghanistan. And I'm telling you guys, this is really a good cause. They put all this stuff together. They ship it at their own cost and expense. This has been going on for a decade now with them. And I have to applaud their effort for our troops. It is absolutely just a great, really a true patriotic thing for them to do. Some folks donate things, but I have to tell you, these guys do a lot of this out of their pocket. And anything that you can do to contribute and participate would be helpful. They're getting ready to ship these boxes over. So if there's stuff that you could contribute or participate with, they send over assorted flashlights and batteries and foodstuffs. I'm just going to read from their thing here. Some of the items that might make their stay a little bit more comfortable, things like foot powder, unscented bar soap, non-scented baby wipes. Remember, it's got to be all non-scented, folks, because you don't want these guys walking around smelling like babies or perfume. It gives them away to the enemy. Coffee, guys. All right. How about getting them some of those Folgers foil packs that they can just throw it in a mug with some hot water and boom, they got instant coffee, right? Tuna and salmon in foil packages, dry soup mixes, Christmas cards, playing cards. There's a full list that you can find on the website at batterystation.com. Let's see. Companies, by the way, support this, and and they carry their products. Pelican makes those hard cases and stuff. Pelican supports this project. Streamlight, Gerber, Elzetta, and Surefire. So, and of course, our radio station supports them as well. So these guys are deployed in a very remote location in Afghanistan, and they don't get a chance to get stuff like this very often. And so, they're over there working hard in an environment that most of us would consider to be truly primitive. And, the military can only deliver so much. And I know for a fact, because my son was over there on 2 different tours with the Army. He's over there again now. And I know for a fact that, they live very, very, very rough over there. You're talking about outhouses. There's no water. When once in a while they get pulled back to a place where they can actually, there's a trailer that they bring up that has showers built into it, and they can literally go in there and take a shower in a trailer and then walk out the other side. They go in one side, go through it. It's a shower on the way through, and then on the other end they can, that's the only shower they'll get for 6 weeks. So, life's tough over there, folks. Anything we can do to enhance or improve their lot in life. Hey, you know what? How about a nice letter written from your kid? How about a letter? Not only that, but you know what? It's a great opportunity for you to help get your kid into the right frame of mind about what our military does for us over there. It gives you a good opportunity for you to express and teach your children that our military is our first line of defense, and that these guys are really heroes, the real heroes, not the kind of heroes that the media passes off to us as everybody's a hero. These guys are real heroes, even though their everyday action is not necessarily heroic. The fact that they're over there and they're putting up with these kind of living conditions on our behalf, and they did it voluntarily, that says a lot about these men. So, if you can participate, they're collecting items. It's at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains. You can email them at troops, TROOPS, at batterystation.com. You can find a list of products that they need at batterystation.com. And you can call down there at 417-257-7799. Okay? So anything that you guys can do, I would appreciate it. They would appreciate it. I promise you that our guys overseas in Afghanistan will appreciate it, for real. Okay? Do your best and do your part if you can. Now, Battery Station has recently started to sponsor and promote our show, and I want to thank them for doing that. They have a whole lot of freeze-dried food down there. They just got it in from Mountain House. These are those number 10 cans, and they have you can get, it's bacon and eggs as an example, right? And I think it was like $23 for a can. Well, that's $13, $12, $13, $15 less than I've seen it for in catalogs. So they have a limited amount of it, so make sure that you get down there right away. They've got beef stroganoff and all these kinds of... Now, this stuff is good until 2037, folks. So, it's not going to go bad on you, right? And they also have all kinds of other gear. If you are looking for great Christmas gifts, perfect place to go. They have a lot of backpacks. They have, rifle cases, holsters, flashlights of all kinds of outdoor gear and tactical gear, vests and jackets and things like that. They've got these cases that are like OtterBox cases, and they're waterproof. And these are perfect for stocking stuffers because they're really cheap. He's selling these things for like $5, and I see them on eBay all the time for $20. So you can go down there, and these are perfect for if you're going to float down the river. You can drop your camera in there or your cell phone in there. You can put your cigarettes in there if you're a smoker, and they come with like a little lanyard so you can tie it to your raft and float, that kind of thing. So make sure that you get down there. They've got great specials on batteries. They've got ammunition. And everybody knows that that's drying up. So make sure that you do make it your business to get down there and see those folks. They're at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains, and it's 257-7799. They will be open on Saturday today. Okay? This is the perfect time for you to get in and get those last-minute Christmas gifts and stocking stuffers done. I want to thank Bill Stone from Stone Construction. Bill is a supporter and a patriot and a supporter of our show. And he's been in the construction business for 40 years. And he does, custom remodels. He does custom and new construction as well. Probably not a whole lot of people building brand new houses in this marketplace, but there's a great opportunity for you to do a remodel. And also does some light commercial work. So if you're looking to put up a new commercial building or expand on the one you've got, get a hold of Bill Stone at 293-0116. All right, Bill is a patriot, and a lot of you have heard him speak on different shows on this station before. He's been here all of his life. Real hard-working guy and a good fella. So 293-0116. That's Bill Stone from Stone Construction. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery. My friend Mary over there, and she's probably listening to me right now. Mary is a dear friend, and I love her to death, and her bakery is the best bakery in 100 miles, guys, so you won't find a better place than that. She's open late Christmas Eve, and so make sure that, which is unusual for her, she's normally not open on Mondays, so she will be open on Christmas Eve. You can get in there at 255-2253. That's 255-2253. And she's at number 2 Evans Arcade off the square in the center of town in West Plains. She does do special orders, but if you're going to order something, boy, for Christmas, you better get on the dime and get on the phone with her to find out what she can put together for you for your guests or your parties or whatever's going on. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, another new friend of ours. They are located down in Mountain Home, and they're local folk here, but they have a physical brick-and-mortar store down in Mountain Home. And they are a seller of all kinds of self-reliance products. They've got things for camping. They've got freeze-dried food. They've got Wise Food products that you can buy in these buckets and put them away. They're complete meals, or you can buy like an entire family's worth of food in one bucket. So make sure that you get a chance to see those folks. You can get to their website at Ozark MTN, abbreviation for mountain, selfreliance.com. And Brian down there, you can get a hold of him by telephone. His number is 870-492-4030. That's 870-492-4030. Now, they carry a ton of different products that are geared for camping and all kinds of self-reliant stuff like water purification systems and all kinds of things. And they're a great resource as well. So I'd like for you guys to support and help our sponsors, because that's what keeps this show on the air for you guys, right? I mean, if you like the show, if you listen to it all the time, then help us remain on the air, because that's, and I don't want to sound like a PBS thing, but that's the simple truth of the matter. You can also support us by going to our website and shopping through our site. We have links up there for Brownells. We have links up there for Amazon.com. We have links up there for all these different vendors, and you can go through just go to americasvoicenow.org and then click on Amazon.com's link. Any shopping you do from that point forward, we'll get credit for. And they don't send us a lot, but they send us a few pennies. And it helps us to defray our costs, We do this as a voluntary effort, folks, and nobody gets paid around here. All the money, the money that we spend doing the website, and all the time and effort and energy we put into this, and all the research we do, hey, that's gratis. We're doing this as a Paul Revere effort, right? So we're not asking for for you to do much, but help support us. And anything you can do in that regard would be a blessing. If you can donate to us, we have a brand new donate button up on the website. Simply click on that. You can donate through PayPal, so it's secure. You can use a PayPal account, or you can use a credit card. And boy, could we use some help. So if there's any way that you can make cash donations to us, please do so through our PayPal account, and we'll be very, very grateful to you in the long term. You can simply just go onto the site. Anywhere on the top menu, it says donate. I believe it says donate here. And when you click through, you can use any kind of credit card or an ATM card. And then you can also donate out of a PayPal account if you have that as well. So it gives us the opportunity to take credit cards without actually having to go through all those machinations. We're going to take a break in just a minute. And when we come back, we're going to have Doreen Hannes join us. She is the author of thetruthfarmer.com, and also she is heavily involved with the Property Rights Congress groups, and she'll be joining us at the top of the hour. So we'll have an opportunity to speak about things and issues that are surrounding both our property rights as well as food and GMOs and things like that. I think you guys are going to find it informative. Doreen's been doing this a long time. She's a good friend of ours, great member of our extended family, and I think you'll really enjoy her visit with us. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. We also have a brand new YouTube channel up, and you can go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/America's Voice Now. We're starting to post our videos up there, too, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of play out of that. Hey, we'll be back in just a minute.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the-right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If you're a homeowner facing foreclosure and a so-called loan modification expert asks you for an upfront payment, run, and run fast. Be aware of promises that can't be kept, like,
I guarantee to save your home.
We can significantly lower your mortgage payment.
Protect yourself from foreclosure scams. Assistance from a HUD-approved housing counselor is your assurance that the information is trustworthy, and it's free. Visit www.hud.gov/fair housing.
A message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
My name is Joe Thompson. I'm 29, and thanks to my college degree, I'm a systems analyst. And the college me would tell you,
I wouldn't be here without Big Brothers Big Sisters. My big brother believed in me, and to a 7-year-old,
that means a lot. My big brother's name is Phil, and Phil is the reason that this 7-year-old grows up to be a systems analyst.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. Start something today at bigbrothersbigSisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
We are back. Got about 8 minutes or so until we're joined by Ms. Doreen Hannes. She is, again, a specialist in food and issues surrounding what we put into our bodies every day. Hey, before we go, I don't want to, before we get too far ahead, I don't want to forget to mention Jason Whittingham over at Wits End Barbershop. That's a classic barbershop, guys. It feels like you're stepping into a barbershop in the 30s. You go in there, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, lots of good conversation, and supporter of our show, sponsors our phone bank. And so if you want to call and talk to us, you can call us on the Wits End Hair Hotline. I'm going to get that right one of these days. It's the Wits End Hair Hotline. So, Jason, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, brother. It is a great place to go. I go over there and get my hair cut. But beyond that, too, he also does like this hot lather shave with a straight razor. Man, I'll tell you what, it's really kind of a treat. So go in there and talk to Jason. Tell him Mike sent you. Anytime you visit our sponsors, guys, please make sure that you say that Mike from America's Voice sent you over there, because that's how they know that their advertising is working, right? So it builds their loyalty to us. It builds their loyalty to you as a new customer. And, it helps everybody in the long run. So simply tell them Mike from America's Voice sent you, or I heard about your show on America's Voice, and they will be very appreciative of that, and so will I. So I want to just give an update on our CCW training classes, because we've been getting a ton of calls after the events going on in Connecticut. And so if you are interested in CCW classes, we have classes that are going to be taking place on the 5th of January, and I believe it's the 5th and the 6th of January. Now, the CCW class is a one-day class. It's 8 hours as mandated by law. Basically, there's some classroom time where you have to learn about the law and what the law's relations are to carry and use of force and things like that. And then they take you out and you qualify with both a revolver and a pistol. And then once you're completed, you get your stamp of approval that you've passed the class, and you can then get your CCW designation. I encourage everybody to get a CCW for a couple of reasons. And I've had callers who have called in and said, hey, I don't want anybody to know I've got one, and that kind of thing. And I get that. I mean, but by the same token, I think it also makes a statement that you are a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. And I think the more people that have one out there, the better off we all are in the long run. So, and it does give you an opportunity to carry a weapon. I mean, if you try to carry a weapon without one, and it, we do have open carry in this state, but if you try to carry a weapon and your jacket falls over it, suddenly you're in violation of the law. And so I would strongly encourage everybody to have a CCW. And don't stop there, because having a concealed weapons permit does not make you properly trained for an actual confrontation. And so what we always encourage is that you get additional training beyond that. And in light of that, we're going to do our TAC 1 pistol training. Now, I believe the date we've got for TAC 1 pistol training, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm still waiting for an email from our training group, is the 12th and 13th, or the 19th and the 20th. And I have to be honest, I'm not positive of which dates those are. The TAC 1 pistol training is a 2-day course, but it's going to be in the middle of the month. It's either going to be the 12th and the 13th or the 19th and the 20th. And here's what this is. This is a real-world, actual application of pistol craft, right? So what happens is you take this class, and you will be fully and thoroughly educated about safety issues, how to carry a weapon properly, how to draw and present a weapon in a crisis situation, how to shoot one-handed, strong-handed, weak-hand, and then two-handed, how to take advantage of cover and concealment, and what's the difference between those two, how to do different types of reloads in a crisis situation. How do you act when a real crisis occurs? And that, folks, is the real value to this program, is that it takes you beyond the idea of what you see on TV, puts you into real-world situations where you have an opportunity to evaluate and analyze what's actually occurring. Then you can begin to employ and train and practice those skills that you've learned so that they become second nature and muscle memory to you. All right? I cannot encourage you enough to take TAC 1 pistol training. It's $175. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot beat that price. This is normally a $225 course, and so I've gotten a $50 discount for our listeners. By simply you listening here, you gain that. And in addition to that, we have a certificate that you'll get at the end that entitles you to a $25 discount off of a firearm that you would buy at a number of local dealers who have all kind of contributed and participated to this with this program as well. So absolute mandatory that you take CCW and TAC 1 afterwards. If you don't have to do the CCW first, by the way, you can do them in order or out of order. It doesn't really matter. But I want to make sure that you're participating in that, because this is a chance for you to get the type of training that you wish for but don't know where to go about getting and don't know where to start. I'm making it really easy for you, okay? Our co-op program will be kicking off probably about mid-January. We were putting the list of products together. It's a great product list. We're talking about 50-pound bags of rice and flour and beans and things like that, and you'll be able to buy kidney beans or pinto beans or black-eyed peas or whatever the case may be. The idea is buy bulk and then put it away, and put it away for leaner days. So those who are smart will know exactly what to do and how to do it. We're offering our listeners this opportunity to take advantage of this because we know that leaner times are going to come, and we want to make sure that all of you have the opportunity to practice what we preach, which is self-reliance and being responsible for ourselves and our families, responsible for our actions, right? So we're not going to be the ones standing in food lines, with our ribs showing through. The other issue we've got going on is, and so the other issue is the law seminar. Our law seminar is with Michael Brown, who's joined us on a couple of occasions on the show. He is an expert in legal issues and legal matters. We're going to have that after January as well. We just want to get the holidays out of the way, let everybody kind of settle down a little bit, and then we're going to schedule these seminars. The law seminar is a great opportunity for you to understand and learn about what you can do to deal and resolve your own legal issues where you may... This is Doreen calling right now. Hey, Doreen, welcome to the show. Just hang on for 1 second if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem.
I'm glad you called.
Okay.
This is an opportunity, folks, for you to learn and understand what the issues are around the legal system. If you've ever had a civil lawsuit, if you've ever been involved in a criminal issue, you can actually act as your own lawyer and probably do a better job than many of the lawyers that are out there. The simple truth is they owe their allegiance to not to you. They owe their allegiance to the court. Their sworn oath is to the court, not to you. And so Brown goes through the issues of how you can defend yourself, how you can handle a lot of these, like if you're being sued by a credit card company or a company that repossessed a car or something like that. Hey, this is a great opportunity for you to understand and learn how you can actually represent yourself, how the legal system works, and what you need to do. So I strongly encourage you to participate with that program. If you're interested in any of these, send us an email to Mike at americasvoicenow.org. That's Mike at americasvoicenow.org, and put in the subject line whatever one of those programs you're interested in, or all. And if you've already sent this email, I've got it. You don't have to repeat it, but just make sure that you get me, you get email to me so that I know that you're interested and I can get the details out to you. Okay? Right after the Christmas season, I promise everybody I will have emails going out to you with dates and times and scheduled issues, pricing, and the whole 9 yards. Okay, we're going to take a break. It is the top of the hour. When we come back, Doreen is going to join us. Doreen is the author of truthfarmer.com. If you're not familiar with that, get over to that website and find out about Doreen's work on that blog. And also, she is heavily involved in the private or property rights Congress groups. You can find them at prcnews.com. We'll be right back. Org.
107.1 The Point, KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. President and Mrs. Obama are in Hawaii now with the kids for Christmas. They delivered the weekly White House address together.
This week, let's give thanks for our veterans and their families. And let's say a prayer for all our troops, especially those in Afghanistan, who are spending this holiday season overseas, risking their lives to defend the freedoms that we hold so dear.
And remember, when our men and women in uniform answer the call to serve, their families serve right along with them.
The president left Washington telling leaders in Congress to get a deal done on reducing the deficit before the end of the year deadline. House Speaker John Boehner in the Republicans' weekly address.
The best way to address our crippling debt is to make significant spending cuts and fix our tax code to pave the way for long-term growth and opportunity. This is an approach that most Americans support, and it remains Republicans' a highest priority.
He says hope springs eternal on getting a deal done in time to avoid automatic tax hikes and spending cuts. It's the second Saturday of voting on a new constitution in Egypt.
The constitution has split Egypt in two. On one side, the Muslim Brotherhood and other ultra-conservative Islamist groups have faced off against liberal parties, youth groups, Christians and moderate Muslims. Unofficially, the first round of voting last week produced a victory for the Islamists with a yes vote. The rest of the country will vote today, and that trend is expected to continue with the constitution passing. But the last month has been plagued by deadly protests. Does everyone just go home now? The president is locked in a dispute with the judiciary over this constitution. That's where the next battle will be fought. In Jerusalem, Emily Wither, Fox News Radio.
Pope Benedict pardoning his former butler convicted of leaking Vatican secrets, also pardoning another employee convicted of helping. The Pope delivered the news in prison in person to Paolo Gabrielli. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
You're in the Fox Light.
Steven Spielberg's Lincoln topped all movies with 7 Golden Globe nominations. Argo and Django Unchained followed with 5. And Les Miserables, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30 all got 4 honors. The Globes are often a reliable predictor for the Oscars. 2 pieces of good news for Taylor Swift. Her song Safe and Sound from the Hunger Games soundtrack was nominated for a Golden Globe, and her album Red returned to the #1 album spot after 3 weeks in second. Radar Online is reporting that former House star Olivia Wilde and SNL boyfriend Jason Sudeikis are secretly engaged and are planning a wedding in his hometown of Kansas City. A Los Angeles judge revoked Lindsay Lohan's probation, which could send her back to jail. Lilo faces new charges for reckless driving, lying to police, and obstructing an officer. In Hollywood, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
The Fox Light.
Keep listening for more focus from the Fox Light on Fox News Talk.
House Speaker John Boehner had to cancel a vote on his own tax plan with not enough support from his own party. Does he have enough support, period?
Even Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid feels sorry for Boehner.
I like John Boehner, but gee whiz, I mean, this is a pretty big political battering he's taken.
Boehner told reporters he wasn't concerned about losing his speakership, but Republican Ohio Congressman Stephen LaTourette blamed conservatives for threatening Boehner.
That's the same 40, 50 chuckleheads that all year, starting with H.R. 1, the entire Congress have screwed this place up. And so, you know, and he has done everything.
If Boehner's speakership is in jeopardy, who would a challenge come from? When Boehner met with reporters, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor joined him in a show of solidarity. At the Capitol, Chad Pergram, Fox News Radio.
South African government spokesman says former President Nelson Mandela is responding well to treatment for a lung infection and gallstones. He's 94 years old. He's been hospitalized for 2 weeks. It's Christmas party season. It's not polite to show up empty-handed.
While wine may be gone in a night, a bottle of special hard liquor is something your host can savor, such as aged tequila or rum. Saveur Magazine's editor-in-chief, James Osland, is especially impressed with Corsair Spiced Rum.
These warm vanilla notes, and it mixes beautifully along with bourbon and scotch.
A cheese-making kit, about $30, is great for someone who loves to experiment. To go the homemade route, Osland says nut brittle is a fantastic and simple gift. Liquefy sugar, stirring constantly. Add vanilla, salt, baking soda, butter. Add nuts.
Cashews make one of the most delicious brittles known to man. Possibly even better is a macadamia brittle.
Cool on a non-stick surface, break into pieces, and try not to eat them all before you can give them away. Lillian Wu, Fox News Radio.
A hostage standoff at a bank in Berlin, Germany's over after 9 hours. The guy turned himself in. Nobody's hurt. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
It's the Big Finish of 2012 event going on now at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Check out the 2012 Chrysler Town & Country van with seating for up to 7, DVD entertainment system, and an estimated 25 miles per gallon. Or try the capable and dependable 2012 Jeep Wrangler Sport and Jeep Grand Cherokee and Dodge Durango. Be sure to check out our inventory at earlsdodgejeep.com or just come see us at North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 51 degrees. Later on, we have a low around 35 and mostly clear on Sunday. It'll be mostly sunny out there with a high near 54. Sunday night, we have a low around 39. Monday, partly sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
All right. We are back from the capitalist break. Got to pay those bills, folks. You can participate in that if you're in business who's interested in advertising with us. You have an opportunity to work with America's Voice Now to support our show by advertising with us. If you're interested in doing so, you can send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org, and you can simply put in the subject line that you're interested in doing some advertising on our show. We'll make sure that we contact you immediately to get you set up. We can do live reads and commercials, recorded ones and that kind of thing. So if you're a business and you are interested in advertising, please let me know immediately. I want to thank and welcome Doreen to the show. Doreen, you are a real activist in the Property Rights Congress and also with your blog, The Truth Farmer, where you have a specialty in an area of knowledge and expertise in food products. But you also are really well-rounded on the Agenda 21 issue. And so welcome to the show. We'll open up the dialogue and have a nice conversation.
Okay. Well, I suppose I ought to start off with basically what Agenda 21 is and inform everybody that there is not one person on the face of this planet that is an expert in every area of Agenda 21.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. It's not possible.
Right.
It is not
too voluminous
possible
for any one individual to be fully versed in all of its evil.
Right. No, absolutely no way. But Agenda 21 is a UN program that came out of the 1992 Convention on Climate Change, the Earth Charter. Rio is the place that it originated, and actually just this past June they had Rio Plus 20, where they specialized in redefining the language yet again, Mike. So,
boy, do they use language to twist this up like spaghetti too, right? To make it sound so innocuous and so nice and so glamorous, and it's really pitching us a false utopia.
Oh, absolutely, it's a false utopia. What it actually is, Agenda 21 is kind of the culmination of at least 100 years. And I mean, we could go back to the literal origins of Agenda 21, which are evil. But it's a culmination of the eugenics movement,
right,
combined with German intellectualism coming over to the United States in the 20s, and it is what is referred to, well, back in the 1950s, the terminology started floating around about a master plan. And that is what Agenda 21 is. And the origins of Agenda 21 are in eugenics and control, and it's communistic, So my area of knowledge in pretty good depth is agricultural and land use. So more of a rural, if you will, knowledge of Agenda 21. Now, there are 40 chapters, and this entire plan comprises about 800 pages in itself, in the actual Agenda 21 document.
And that's only the outline.
Well, that's the secret code language one.
Right.
And then I don't think that the state of Missouri could hold all of the paperwork, actually, that's been generated on the entire implementation process if you stacked it a little bit shallow. But it's a United Nations plan. It's a global plan to control, and it says so on about page 10 of the Agenda 21 document I talked about, to control all human impact on the environment, Mike.
Right. And that encompasses everything that we do.
Right.
From, your morning constitutional all the way up to the work that you do as a slave to the debt system. So,
right.
I mean, there's nothing that isn't covered by human impact on the planet.
No, there is nothing. And I mean, recently the EPA decided to actually finalize their guidance on CO2 emissions, and that CO2 emissions are dangerous emissions. So breathing out affects the environment. Breathing in affects the environment. I mean, that is really the depth.
It gets that granular.
It gets that granular, and
which basically means, by the way, that they would have a problem with this radio show because we're exuding CO2 right at the moment.
Exactly.
Good reason to shut us down, right?
Well, you might speak too much, which CO2 as a dangerous gas is just goofy because that's what the plants breathe, guys.
Right. Exactly.
And anyway, that's just part of this program, the Agenda 21 / Sustainable Development. And one of the biggest problems, particularly in the agricultural realm, Mike, is that people like the word sustainable.
Yeah.
That when people think of sustainable, they think that they are being good stewards.
Right.
Of what they have, that they're not raping and pillaging and destroying nature in order to profit.
The only problem is their definition of sustainable and our definition of sustainable are two completely different things.
Right. Now, I mean, you have to, going through this, you kind of have to understand where people are coming from so that you can help them to see what sustainable actually means when it's coming out of a policymaker's mouth, a bureaucrat's mouth, or any government official's mouth.
Right.
Sustainable is in itself. This is part of the redefining of the language, part of taking control of our ideologies and making us, kind of fight amongst each other when we actually ought to be on the same side.
Sure.
So the sustainable development, that was Maurice Strong, who's, he's one of the elite, and he got the great big bear hug from the global elite on assigning that name, ascribing that name to Agenda 21. So it's Agenda 21 / Sustainable Development, and it's going to work right here.
Yeah. Anytime you hear that word sustainable, folks, and it's used in the context of government, fear it. Because it is the absolute alliteration of everything that we have, that our worst nightmares are made of. Mm-hmm. The goal of Agenda 21 is dramatic depopulation of the earth and the ultimate sustainability of the earth, where there is a small oligarchy at the top. The rest of us are slaves feeding and caring for them, and that is the overall goal. So never let anyone fool you with the word sustainable, because if it's used in a statement from a government official, it is absolutely your enemy. Mm-hmm. No bones about it. Make no bones about it.
Well, yeah, it's very much the enemy of freedom, free enterprise, humanity, the ability to profit from your labor, how to, private property ownership.
Right.
That's one of the things that they have
adopted from the Communist Manifesto, right?
Well, it's deemed to not be sustainable.
Right. Well, the Communist Manifesto says that one of the first planks is the elimination of ownership of private property.
Yes.
And Agenda 21 has adopted that to say that you can't. Their excuse for achieving that goal is that if you have private property, it cannot be a sustainable situation because you have too much control over what you can do with that property if you own it.
Absolutely. So. Now, I'd like to run through a few of the things that are enumerated as being unsustainable activities in Agenda 21.
I will tell you, we got about a minute and a half before the break. So, do you want to hold off on that list, or do you want to run through it quickly?
No,
now?
I'll run through it because it pretty well paints the picture. Grazing of livestock, cows, sheep, goats, horses. Disturbance of the soil surface, particularly regarding large hooked animals, compaction of soil, and it reduces the filtration. Fencing is unsustainable. Agriculture.
What was that last one?
Fencing your property. Fencing, putting a fence
fencing.
up.
I see. Fencing. Okay.
Like the one we ought to have down south, but we don't.
You mean to keep the illegal animals out? Yeah, well, that one? Okay.
Yeah, that
I
one.
got you.
Well, and actually that problem is part of Agenda 21 too, but, perhaps we can run into that. Modern farm production systems, chemical fertilizers, herbicides, building materials are unsustainable, industrial activities, human-made caves of brick and mortar, concrete and steel.
Great.
Paved and tarred roads are unsustainable, railroads, floor and wall tiles, aquaculture, technology improvements, farmlands, rangelands, pastures, fish ponds, plantations, modern hunting, harvesting of timber, logging, anything that you do with the land, guys, is unsustainable. So, one thing that to those who are interested in eating well and, local food production, things of that nature, Mike, everybody needs to know that Monsanto, according to the USDA, is sustainable.
So we're not, but it is.
Exactly.
Gotta love that.
Exactly.
We're going to take a break here. I want you guys to get over to truthfarmer.com. That is Doreen's actual blog. And also, she has she's heavily involved in the PRC, or Property Rights Congress group, and their website is prcnews.org. So make sure you get out there and visit those sites. Find us also on the web at americasvoicenow.org. We'll be back in just a minute.
Chantilly's Artisan Bakery will be open Monday, Christmas Eve from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. so you can come by and get a treat for yourself or that special someone. Chantilly's uses organic, locally sourced, natural ingredients for the highest quality product. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you every day. Call ahead 255-2253 or stop by number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square, downtown West Plains. Don't forget, Chantilly's Artisan Bakery will be open Monday, Christmas Eve.
I'm home, and I love it. I'm home, where I belong.
These days, many Americans are at risk of foreclosure and losing their homes. Making Home Affordable from the U.S. government has already helped many struggling homeowners. Go to makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE. The sooner you act, the better chance we can help you.
I'm home.
Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Weir Ford is the place.
Hi, folks. Jay Loveland from Weir Ford. I wanted to share with you a thank you card our service director, Kelly Akers, received.
We appreciate your thoroughness and fairness in dealing with us. Please compliment the mechanic that worked on our driver's door window and loose panel. It was a difficult job, and they made it good as new. Thank you, and God bless.
At Weir Ford, we really believe and live by our motto, do the right thing. We invite you to stop in and experience the difference at Weir Ford in Mountain Grove.
Okay, we are back after our capitalist break. I know that's a dirty word to a lot of the liberals and progressives out there, you statists. Let me tell you, it's capitalism at its best. Thanks for joining us, Doreen, again. I did get an email with a question for you, and so if you don't mind, I'll fire this off. He says, ask Doreen why she thinks Obama lifted the horse slaughter ban that in 2008 he campaigned, saying he was for making the ban permanent. Are you familiar with that at all?
Here's the issue with the horse slaughter thing. The USDA is not going to fund inspectors at horse slaughter plants. So, if there is to be any horse slaughter, the people who run those facilities are the ones who are going to have to pay for it. And Obama also said that he was going to require the labeling of genetically modified organisms in our food. He didn't do that. Imagine that, a politician that doesn't keep his promises.
Well, he also told us he'd respect our Second Amendment rights, too,
yeah.
so you see where that's headed.
Yeah, this is the go ahead and keep your change part of the program.
Right. He also said he was going to be the most transparent administration in history, and it has been the most obtuse administration in history. So,
right.
Folks, you won't find a more opaque administration than this one.
No,
this guy is about as transparent as a lead wall.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, on the horse slaughter thing, I think it's to a large degree, it's just an emotional issue for an awful lot of people, and I think it's something to divide us.
Right. Right. And that is the argument that we keep seeing over and over and over with this elitist and statist mentality is keep the ants fighting amongst themselves,
right,
while we sit here and reap the benefits.
Exactly. It's like when you want to kill a fly, like hold up a pencil to the left side of it and then come in with the swatter on the right. You know? They're always keeping us distracted.
Disinformation, lies, and misrepresentation. And honestly, the whole argument, I believe, truthfully, I believe that one of the reasons our border is open and kept open is so that we can continuously have an influx of people that will help to keep the United States angered and fighting amongst ourselves with legal aliens who, by their very nature want to support their family and friends to come in. Mm-hmm. And so it creates a rift that is constantly keeping us embattled. This president's done a great job doing that with race.
Yes.
He's done a great job doing that with economic issues and, the rich versus the poor and all of that. And the idea is this is all false flag crap, folks. They're just keeping us all bickering and fighting amongst ourselves while they're robbing us blind and squeezing, the sponge of America to drain out the last of its resources.
Well, right, pretty much. And, actually the porous border, the issue with that is the plan is to have Canada, the United States, and Mexico all be the same entity.
Under the NAA, which is the North American Alliance.
Right. And that's already implemented via various, financial mechanisms effectively through the WTO. And really the issue with illegal immigration, the thing is these people down in Mexico and even further south, an awful lot of them were like hillside farmers. And through the WTO and our agreements, NAFTA, we flooded them with cheap corn so they could no longer make a living.
Right.
So they got driven off of their land or out of their country by the global corporate governance, and then they come up here and work for a different corporation picking strawberries or something to send home to their family down there. You can't blame people for wanting to live.
No, of course not. And yet Agenda 21 is all about not living.
Exactly. It's all about controlling the land, controlling people's ability to profit from their labor, destroying the use of private property, and herding people into easily controlled cities with buffer zones around those cities that are supposed to feed everybody within the city.
Right. That China is developing that brand new city over there, which they're building out of nothing. Mm-hmm. And they're building it out in the middle of a drought-stricken Nowhereville. And basically this city is designed to house millions, and no one will have to have any kind of outside transportation. It will all be public transportation. Everyone will be able to walk and or gain access to wherever their slave labor camp work job is.
Right.
And there will be no need for anyone to have a motorized vehicle or anything along those lines.
Right.
And listen, folks, did you read Agenda 21 by Beck?
No, I have not read that.
I actually read it. A friend of mine lent me a copy of it, and I read it. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, it's a far-reaching example where basically mankind has been reduced to living in these isolated encampments where you walk on these treadmills to generate energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy gets pumped, out into nobody knows where, basically. But you live in this concrete little box. There's no furniture. You're dropped a food pill in the morning, and you're dropped a food pill in the afternoon. And basically, your children are taken away at birth, and they're raised in a communal environment where, it's a dystopian environment. Right. And this one girl, her mother is taken away because she's no longer productive and kind of makes noise and that kind of thing. And so, they're guaranteeing that these children have no memory of what the past was because they raised them in this communal environment. No one's, but the children are suffering because there's no human contact. There's no, they're not treated like a mother would treat a child. You know what I mean? They're raised like cattle versus like a mother, a mother and a child relationship would be.
Right.
And so this one girl has a baby, and they take the baby away, and she gets a job working in the nursery, and she tries to interact with her own child, and it's a very, very interesting story. And I don't want to spill the beans on what the story is, but you got to read it, folks. It's kind of, it's dystopian in its nature, and I grant to you that it's the outside edge of this. But at the end of this thing, he gives an enormous amount of resource about where to find out information on Agenda 21 and its overall global plan. And I'm here to tell you that it'll scare the living hell out of you.
And it should.
And it should, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, as dystopian as it is, and as far-reaching into the future as it really is not all that far away.
No.
And if these guys get their way, they would have us all living in communal areas where we are in isolated, mega cities, and they don't even have to be all that mega, because quite honestly, their goal is to have a population on the planet of about 1 billion people. That means that 6 billion of us have got to go.
Right.
That's a scary thought. 6 billion people have to leave the planet.
Well, the numbers that have been around since the 1920s, as far as what is quote unquote a sustainable population
via the eugenics movement.
Right. It ranges anywhere from 500 million
to 1 billion.
Like on the Georgia Guidestones.
Right.
To 2.5 billion, which is really the dominant number that is out there in all of the various Illuminati eugenicists. What is a sustainable population for the Earth? How can we keep the Earth like pristine and still have some people to serve the elite, if you will?
Yeah.
So it is
even 2.5 billion, though. That means that 5 billion of us have got to go.
Right.
It's not much consolation here if you're one of those.
Well,
if you're one of those 5 billion,
Honestly, Mike, here's the way I look at it. For the people who are for population control, I think they ought to lead by example.
I love that.
It's like, hey, you think there's too many? Take yourself out.
There you go. We'll get the Department of Homeland Security to lend you a few of their 2.5 billion rounds, and you can do yourself in.
There you go.
Oh goodness! I'll tell you what. It's so frightening that if we don't laugh a little bit about it, we're going to end up sitting down just sobbing in our soup because, listen, folks, this agenda is been in play for a long, long time, and this is not something new that they're trying to pass off on us. It's just that we're getting to the point where they can no longer keep it under wraps,
right?
And it now has to. At some point, the truth has to out, right? And we're seeing it every day in our real world scenarios, and in our political and ideology and politics and our religion and the destruction of all the things that humankind has been building and developing over centuries and eons. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to open our phone lines up and allow callers in. And you can call our Wits End Hair Hotline. I got it right that time. And you can call us at 257-1111. That's 257-1111. Or long distance at 866-554-6636 if you're out there in the hinterlands. We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, we'll take your calls for Doreen, and we'll talk about Agenda 21 and any other issues that we can shovel into this time. We'll be back in just a minute.
Fox
News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president in Hawaii for the holidays with his family, still pushing for a fiscal cliff fix.
Before leaving Washington, the president said he's not giving up on getting a breakthrough this year.
I am still ready and willing to get a comprehensive package done.
Suggesting progress could come in steps. Earlier, Speaker Boehner complained the president isn't cooperating enough on spending.
He wants more spending and more tax hikes that will hurt our economy.
Boehner called on Democrats to take the next step.
Fox Radio's Mike Makowitz. It's been a week of mourning for Newtown, Connecticut. As school shooting victims are laid to rest, at least 2 more funerals and a mass being held today. And the Pope granting a Christmas pardon to his former butler for stealing and leaking private papers in one of the greatest Vatican security breaches in recent times. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The big finish of 2012 is going on now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Come experience the new Dart Limited Sedan 6-speed automatic. The new 2013 Dodge Dart redefines performance with Alfa Romeo DNA, fuel-efficient powertrains, and Dodge's passion for performance. The all-new Dodge Dart is a thoroughly modern vehicle that's beautifully designed and crafted, agile and fun to drive, and available with a turbo. Check one out today at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 51 degrees. Later on, we have a low around 35 and mostly clear on Sunday. It'll be mostly sunny out there with a high near 54. Sunday night, we have a low around 39. Monday, partly sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
Okay, folks, we're back from the capitalist break. Fighting against the beast every single day. Telling you the truth where the mainstream media leaves you in the dark. That's our goal. Our goal is to educate, inform, motivate, and activate. What do we mean by that? Well, we want to educate you about what's going on in the world around you and raise your awareness. We want to inform you about the things happening every single day that are affecting your life. We want to make sure that you are motivated to take action to protect your own best interest. And then we want to activate you to do to perform actual action to get things straightened out so that you are, 1, being self-reliant in your life, and 2, you are sharing the word with other people and helping to spread the word so that America is not continuing to walk through life in a fog and believe what the mainstream media tells us. They are liars. We know that for a fact. We've seen it proven time and time and time again. Their agenda is not in your best interest, and our government is and media have complicitly joined. That, my friends, is the death knell of the Fourth Estate. The Fourth Estate being the press and the media. The death knell of that, and we've seen it happen time and time and time again in communist countries, is when the press and the media are overtaken by the government and do their bidding instead of actually being a watchdog. And so our goal here is to break that cycle, tell you the truth where you can't hear it anywhere else, bring on intelligent and articulate guests who can share and spread the word with you and help inform and educate you. I want to talk about a couple of our sponsors real quick. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. These folks are down in Mountain Home, but they're local folks here in our area. They have all kinds of products for camping, for hunting, long-term food preparation, solar, and all kinds of other products. They carry a lot of long-term food that you can buy, like Wise Foods and things like that, where you can actually, buy these bulk food products that you can store and put away for your family for emergencies or long-term use. They've got all kinds of camping gear down there that you'll find advantageous, like Coleman lanterns and things like that. They have hunting gear and equipment that you'll find beneficial. They have all kinds of things like solar. They have a solar oven that's kind of cool. Have you ever seen one of those, Doreen?
make them
I'm sorry.
too, but
I'm sorry. I apologize. I had your mic on mute. Have you ever seen one of those solar ovens?
yes, I have, and they are very cool and a very handy thing to have around.
Yeah, you can actually bake bread, and it's I've seen them demonstrated, and they're pretty neat. They have products for food preparation where you can store and make and create your own food, like dehydration and vacuum sealing packs and things like that. And then they have a ton of other products. So make sure you visit those guys. You can see a lot of that on their website, and I'll give you their phone number and their web address. It is ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. Make sure you get down there and visit with those folks. They're a strong supporter of our show, and we appreciate them for doing that. You can also reach Brian at 870-492-4030. That's 870-492-4030, and you can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. For those of you who do not keep pen and paper next to your table or your desk or wherever you're listening to us, shame on you, because I give out information all the time, and I expect that you're writing it down. I get calls all the time. Could you tell me what you said about so-and-so and on this show, or what the web address was for that? Guess what? I'm here every day doing this, and your job, I expect that you're going to do your part, and your part is to write this stuff down, folks. When I give you information, I expect you to write it down, so keep a pen and paper handy. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery. Mary, a friend of ours who just has the best darn bakery you're going to find in 100 miles. She's over at number 2 Evans Arcade and right off the square in West Plains. You can find her at 255-2253. She does special orders, especially right now for the holidays. That's a great opportunity for you to have something, a real treat for your family or friends or your business associates or whatever. She's open on Christmas Eve, which is normally she's not there, but because it's the holiday, she will be open on Christmas Eve. You can reach her at 255-2253. If you got a special order, I'm sure she can take care of you. Bill Stone from Stone Construction, which is against Agenda 21 because he builds with products that are not that do not meet Agenda 21 standards.
They're unsustainable.
He's building those unsustainable boxes.
That's right. That's right.
And he does a damn good job of it. So I want you to get a hold of the human caves, right? Man-made caves. I gotta love that. I mean, what kind of language crap do they shove down our throats, right? So if you've got a man-made cave and you want to remodel it, then I suggest you call Bill Stone. If you are looking to build a new man-made cave, Bill does custom man-made caves, new and remodels of existing man-made caves. He also does light commercial caves. So if you need a cave to run your business in, Bill Stone's the right guy for you. And
can you build a man cave then?
Bill builds great man caves.
There you go.
And you can get a hold of Bill. He builds women caves too. You can call Bill on his man-made phone at 293-0116 and use our man-made telecommunications network to get a hold of him. His number again is 293-0116. It's Stone Construction. So he is partially in line with Agenda 21 because his name is Stone. And he'll build you a man-made cave out of either stone or unsustainable wood. Whichever you prefer.
There you go.
And make sure you visit our friends down at the Battery Station as well. They're strong supporters of our show as well. They're at 303 Washington Avenue. You can find them on the web at batterystation.com. You can also call them at 257-7799. They are open, by the way, on Saturdays now. That's a new advent for them. They've never been open on Saturdays before, but they are going to be now. And please make sure that you participate and you patronize our supporters, because these are the folks that help keep this show on the air. If you have a business and you'd like to support us as well, please do. Like the Battery Station, they're at 303 Washington Avenue, 257-7799. Or the batterystation.com, not the Battery Station, just batterystation.com. They are also doing their final days of collection for our 10th annual troop drive, which supports our 91st Airborne Cavalry Hatchet Squadrons located in Afghanistan, and they are looking for products, all of which I promise you are unsustainable by Agenda 21 standards, for our troops to be able to use. They need things like unscented baby wipes, because these guys don't get a chance to take a shower but once every 6 weeks. which, by the way, according to Agenda 21, is a great thing, right? Because you're not polluting water with your body, with your body dirt. They need coffee. They need tuna and salmon in those foil packages, which are totally unsustainable. They need dry soup mixes and Christmas cards, playing cards, anything that you think a guy over there could really get a kick out of. Maybe a cheap iPod or something you can get him. And they can send that stuff over there. They box it up. They ship it over there at their own cost and expense. And that is something that not many people are willing to do. So they've been doing this thing for a decade. If you've got something you'd like to donate, or if you want to just donate some money, you can certainly do that. They're at 303 Washington Avenue, West Plains, and their email is troops@batterystation.com if you want to ask questions about that, or you can call them at 257-7799. They will be open today. Okay, that's enough of the plugs, and shameless or otherwise.
Hey.
And by the way, I'm not going to forget this. If you would like to support Doreen's efforts, she has a donate button on truthfarmer.com. And there is 2 buttons there. One is to actually donate through PayPal, much like we have on our website. And the other one is the pledge donation, where you can actually pledge a certain amount of money and move. That will. I guess that's like a monthly stipend thing where they.
Well, actually, what that pledge button is for is for Morningland Dairy, who have been put out of business by. Basically, one of the things that I haven't gotten into, Mike, is this perversion of science that we have going on with Agenda 21.
Boy, is that a good phrase for it, the perversion of science.
Oh, it's absolutely a perversion of science. What we're doing, particularly in food and in agriculture, which are the dominant trade things, okay? I mean, everybody has to eat, right? So everybody's involved in agriculture to some extent.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, we have to eat. But here's the issue. We have gone from legitimate, accurate science, which is based on repeatable results within certain parameters, and, predictive, I guess kind of with the pathogenic issues, predictive results on pathogens, to science-based regulation.
Right.
Okay? It's not sound science any longer. We're on science-based issues. It's like now we have to be terrified of any and all bacteria. However, we have to have bacteria or we die.
Sure. This whole idea of all of these chemicals that we use, like these antibacterial soaps and all that stuff, I actually don't think that stuff's good for us.
Well, no, it isn't. And you know what the issue is that in the global realm, there's a thing called the Global Food Safety Initiative, and this is part and parcel of Agenda 21, and their desire is to implement the exact same food safety protocols all across the globe through the corporate side, through the control of the grocery sector, and everything is to be irradiated, Mike.
What is the point of the irradiation factor? I never quite understood that. I mean, why do they drive so damned hard on that?
Because they want all food to be sterile. Because if food is all sterile, we have no immune system, and then we're sick, and we have to go to them to get medication to treat our illnesses caused by the food that they control and only allow us to eat.
Regardless of how complex, it always comes down to the simple cause and effect.
Well, yeah, and it comes down to one word, and that's control.
Sure, create a crisis. I watched a video, 2 of them actually, on YouTube, and they were actually G. Edward Griffin was the host of both of them. Okay. And they were what in the world are they spraying, and why in the world are they spraying?
There you go.
And what they're spraying, and the fact that the United States or USDA, along with foreign governments, are patenting crops that grow in this aluminum that they're dropping all over our soil to nullify or change the pH balance of our soils. And they're dropping heavy metals and aluminum in micro nano particles that micron particles or submicron particles that we can actually breathe in and so forth, and it's causing all kinds of changes to the soil. And yet Monsanto and these major companies out there who are the owners of patents on different grains and crops that will only grow, or that will grow well in that when nothing else will.
Right.
The idea being that once they've basically polluted the soil and they're the only ones who have a seed that will grow in it, we're obligated to deal with them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's actually control of not only the marketplace but control of human life, because they can determine who's going to starve and who's going to eat well very, very simply.
Right, and all of it, here's the one really important thing that most people are not actually aware of. It was illegal to patent any life form until 1982. And that was a Supreme Court case, Diamond versus Chakrabarty, and it was about patenting the oil-eating organisms, okay? So once that went through, then Monsanto, DuPont, Syngenta, et al. Jumped on the bandwagon and began patenting seeds.
I see. It was the nose under the tent, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. And so now we have life forms that are patented that can cross-pollinate, and Monsanto has effectively their own police force that goes around and samples people's fields by trespassing, and then they sue farmers for infringing on their patent.
Jeez.
And most of the time, they win. You know, so
they own the whole judicial system and everything else.
Exactly. So what we've got going on is actually our agencies are in actual business with corporations for profit.
That's shameful to me.
Well, it is shameful, but it's a fact. And there is a PDF out there called USDA Inc. that really goes through a lot of the minutia of the agreements and the patents and the control of the marketplace, and how the USDA actually has a financial interest in supporting this corporate control over our food supply.
We got a break coming up. We're going to take this, and then when we come back, we've got a caller on the line. If you'd like to call in to us and have questions or comments for Doreen, you can certainly do that at 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. And our phone lines are sponsored by Wits End Classic Barber. We'll be right back.
When it comes to bullying, don't validate, eliminate. Adults have the power to stop bullying in our schools. I'm Dennis Van Rokel, president of the National Education Association. It's up to us as educators, as parents, as adults, to stand up on behalf of bullied kids. Help us create safe, bully-free learning environments for all students. One caring adult can make all the difference. Be that adult and take the pledge at NEA.org/bully-free.
A message from the National Education Association.
As another year closes, Community First wants to wish you and your family happy holidays. We know our longevity is sustained by service, community commitment, and one-on-one involvement with our customers. In the year ahead, we'll continue to bring you service you need with professionalism you expect. Discover the bank that puts you and our community first.
Living up to our name, Community First Banking Company.
Community First, member FDIC.
Okay, we are back from that capitalist moment. Ayn Rand would be proud of us. Doreen, we have a phone call. Can we take a call?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Folks, if you'd like to call in, please do so. You can get a hold of us here at 257-1111 and 866-554-6636 for you folks who are out in the hinterlands. Please feel free to give us a shout on our Wits End Hair Hotline. Ask Doreen a question. Welcome to the show, caller. Hi, Mike.
Mike and Doreen, two of my favorite people. This is Mike in Oregon County.
How you doing, Mike in Oregon County?
Doing great. We're going to have a preparedness workshop with the Ozark Self-Reliant Living University in January, I wanted to mention.
Yes, sir. That's January 5th and 6th,
Voice
correct?
Now, reunion away.
Say again?
3 days. And on the first day, which is in Thayer at the Catholic Church, Brian from Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance will be there, as well as you, Mike.
Right.
January 5th. January 6th in West Plains at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. You will be there. Mike and Doreen will be there.
Yep.
And Kevin from the battery station.
Cool beans.
And the following Saturday in Willow Springs at the Chuck Ferguson building, Mike Brown, another guest of yours, will be there.
Mike is the guy who's going to be running our law seminar.
Mm-hmm.
So
he'll be discussing steam engines and alternative fuel.
Yeah.
In Willow Springs.
Great and very interesting program he's got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to mention, too, Doreen is very, very active in the property rights group in Mountain Grove and a big help to all the other groups. You might get that website out there for people to check.
Sure, I did, prcnews.org.
I must have been sleeping then. I got up.
You were asleep, dude.
You need some more unsustainable coffee.
You need more of them unsustainable coffee beans. Hey, on the conference coming up on the 5th, 6th, and is it the 5th, 6th, and 7th, or 4th, 5th, and 6th?
The 5th and 6th, then we skip a week, and on the 12th in Willow Springs.
Okay, my apology. I'll be speaking on the appropriate home defense products and services that you need, along the lines of what's the right firearms to have. You all know I'm not allowed to actually own them anymore, but I can sure as hell tell you, share my knowledge with you. And I'll be talking about the appropriate firearms for home defense as well as home offense. And we'll be talking about what every home should have as a basic set of tools for your own personal defense, as well as the ability to go out and unsustainably hunt if you need to. So, and Doreen, you'll be there talking as well, correct?
Yes, that's the plan.
What's your topic?
Well, preparedness, and effectively, I'm probably going to be dealing with the gardening and networking issues on food, because there isn't anybody that's an island. It's very, very difficult to provide for yourself everything that you need
to
live and to retain your health.
Unless you want to be Jeremiah Johnson.
Well, it's awful tough out there. And
absolutely.
One thing regarding hunting, which is listed as being unsustainable, Mike. I
don't give a damn.
I know you don't, and that's what I like about you. But back in the Depression era, in this area where we have an awful lot of wildlife, it was very difficult to find a squirrel.
Yeah.
And deer were unavailable.
Right. And that was only in the 30s, folks.
Right. So, so people need to really wrap their brains around preparedness in general.
Yep.
Because whether we like it or not, the wheels are falling off on this economy.
Yeah.
They fell off already. We just haven't gone down the ravine.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And the amazing part of this is, I hear people all the time say, I'll just be able to hunt and fish. Let me tell you something, folks. That is not a plan of action. That is a plan to fail, because in the 30s, during the Depression here, where things were not even as bad as we are anticipating that they're going to get in the future, that game runs out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, if you have major cities that are vacating and people that are wading through, moving through in large bulk volume to try to be able to sustain themselves, trust me, that game isn't going to be out there very, very long.
Right, it's not. And, so my main issue, and this is my mantra, is that agriculture is actually the basis for civilization. And we have to have enough peace in order to be able to have good harvests so that we can feed ourselves.
Sure.
And treat each other decently, not in a barbaric fashion.
Right.
So as like the first hedge of protection, it's be able to provide some food for yourself and your family. Whether it's a windowsill garden if you live in an apartment.
Right.
Do something, anything. If we all plant in defiance, as it were, because that's one of the things that needs to be controlled according to Agenda 21. They've got a white seed list. There are cities who are telling people what they may or may not plant, where they may or may not plant it. There are numerous occurrences fairly recently of people being fined really substantial amounts of money for having vegetables in their yard.
Yeah, I saw an article about that where the city came out and told this guy he couldn't have a garden in his front yard because it didn't meet city standards of decency or some stupid nonsense.
Right, that was right here in Missouri, too.
Was it?
Yeah, that one. And then there was one in Michigan where a lady, I think they tried to fine her $2,500. There was one a couple of years ago in Georgia. A man had 2.5 acres. They fined him $5,000 for raising vegetables there.
Gee willikers.
There was also one in Georgia as well, this elderly gentleman, and I'm sorry, but I don't have all the particulars in front of me. He had backyard chickens, and, kids would come over and all that for his entire life. Well, basically he was killed because he would not get rid of his chickens.
I'm telling you. We are living in some dangerous times, folks. Mike, your program that you're going to be having on those weekends, give us those dates and the locations again so that our folks can write it down, and then we'll make sure we post it up.
Sure. By the way, one of our speakers will be from an heirloom seed company. That's obviously something Monsanto is not fond of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
January 5th in Thayer at the Catholic Church.
Okay.
January 6th in West Plains at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. January 12th in Willow Springs at the Charles Ferguson Center. Each day, this is an all-day workshop. We'll start at 10, end at 3.
Speak a little louder, Mike, if you don't mind.
Okay, 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock each of those days.
Okay.
And it is free. We accept donations to cover the expenses, but it is totally free. We don't want anyone to not come because of money.
There you go.
That's great work, Mike, that you're doing, and give us kind of a rundown on what some of the topics are that are going to be available for folks to.
Well, we'll have a man who is president of the West Plains Ham Radio Club talking about using two-way radio for emergency communications.
That's a good one.
And this will be also an effort to get people to sign up for free classes to get amateur radio, ham radio licenses.
Okay.
Brian from Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance will talk about preparedness in general, show some of the items at his store.
Right.
Kevin at the battery station will do the same thing.
Sure.
They both have a lot of good items.
Yep.
We've talked to another Self-Reliance store in Springfield, hoping they will make it to Willow Springs. Last year, there was only one that I know of in 2 states. Stores selling Self-Reliance materials. I think there are 5 or 6 now in Missouri and Arkansas.
Cool.
That's good. Mike Brown will spend 1 hour discussing steam engines and another hour talking about alternative fuel, making your own alcohol and converting a gas engine. He's actually one of the pioneers in that area.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, Doreen, of course, on her topics, you and yours, my wife, Debbie Slack, on raised bed gardening, making your own garden soil when you have really crappy soil like we have in a lot of the Ozarks.
Yep.
We got good dirt between the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Filling the nooks and crannies, as it were, right?
Yeah.
We do have some tough soil here, boy. I'll tell you what, man. If we could eat rocks, we'd all be well off, But
we'll also have the folks from Heidi Hole Storm Shelter Company discussing just shelter in general when we have various types of emergencies.
Gotcha.
Mike Knox from the White Harvest Seed Company in Hurtville. And they spoke at the Go Green Self-Reliance Festival, as did you and Doreen.
Sure.
And he had a lot of folks really interested in heirloom seeds. And his topic is heirlooms versus GMOs.
There you go.
And frankly, we have a few other folks coming, too. They're pretty full days, and need to finalize a couple of them.
Absolutely. Well, that's great.
I will send the information to you for the website, Mike.
I'll sure post it up there right away. Hey, thanks, Mike, for the call. We appreciate you.
Thank you much, Dave.
All right, folks, we're going to take another capitalist break here. At the top of the hour, you're going to get news and weather. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And please stick with us for a continuing discussion with Doreen. We'll be back in just a minute.
.107.1 The Point, KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. President Obama spending Christmas with the family away from the White House for a few days. House Speaker John Boehner's back home in Ohio with with no deal on avoiding that fiscal cliff.
Before departing for Hawaii, President Obama said he's still committed to reaching some sort of deal before year's end.
Whether it happens all at once or whether it happens in several different steps.
He called on congressional leaders to draw up a plan that would stop a middle-class tax hike, extend unemployment benefits, and start a process on deficit reduction and growth. Earlier, House Speaker John Boehner complained the president isn't taking deficit reduction seriously.
And he simply won't deal honestly with entitlement reform and the big issues that are facing our country.
Boehner said he's tried. Now he says the White House and Democrats need to offer something.
Fox News Radio's Mike Makowitz. A gunman's dead, and police in central Pennsylvania are trying to figure out just what set him off.
When state troopers responded to a call of shots fired, they encountered their suspect on a rural road. He shot at them and rammed one of their patrol cars with his truck. Before they shot back, killing him, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says 3 troopers were injured.
We have 3 very fortunate state police members tonight. We're very thankful for the fact that they survived this attack. It was a very violent attack.
Before they killed the suspect, he killed 3 people in 3 different locations, including a woman at a church. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News Radio.
A Marine held in a Mexican prison on a gun charge for 4 months is free and back in the U.S., driven across the border back into Texas. John Hammers from Florida, arrested for bringing in an antique shotgun. His lawyer, Eddie Varon Levy.
I thank the American people. I thank everybody. But most important, I thank many people in Mexico. Let me tell you, this is very important. We're also fighting for John, okay?
Sergeant Hammer was on his way to Costa Rica to surf. Massachusetts pharmacy linked to a meningitis outbreak has filed for bankruptcy. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto, shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper.
A girl from Afghanistan shot in the face has gotten surgery at a hospital in suburban New York.
Little Marzea was severely wounded in the Taliban attack. She lost her right eye and her face was disfigured. Marzea's father and brother were killed in the ambush. Surgeons restored the child's ability to breathe through her nose and sleep through the night. She also received a prosthetic eye. Authorities are not releasing her full name or the town where she lives in Afghanistan because of fear of reprisals. The Global Medical Relief Fund arranged for her treatment in the United States. Don Matheson, Fox News Radio.
Just like planes, there could be data recorders in people's cars and trucks.
The Obama administration is bypassing Congress, planning to require black boxes in all new cars. Insurance companies, law enforcement, and safety advocates like the black boxes because, believe it or not, people who get in car accidents tend to misreport details like whether or not they were speeding or whether they had their seatbelt on or not. Privacy advocates worry about what the government may someday do with the data, make more regulations, or even track movements.
Fox Business Network's Jeff Flock in Chicago. This Christmas time, fewer tourists than usual are going to where it all began, Bethlehem.
As storekeepers finish off the final touches to their window displays and hotels here prepare for the arrival of Christian pilgrims from around the world, it's expected there'll be fewer visitors this year.
Mainstream tourism, a lot of cancellations. A lot of, I've been checking with different travel agencies, they lost a lot because people were afraid to come, you know?
That's Palestinian tour guide George Wishmari. He says the Christmas trade is a top money maker for businesses here, but the recent fighting between Israel and Gaza has a lot of Christians staying away. Bethlehem is home to the Church of the Nativity, where Christians say Jesus was born. In Bethlehem, Emily Wither, Fox News Radio.
And I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
This is Jana with Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains and invite you to test drive a new Dodge Dart. The Dart is loaded with innovative technology, class-leading safety features, and clever functionality. The new Dodge Dart sets a new standard in the compact car segment by offering unmatched personalization, roominess, style, functionality, and fun-to-drive dynamics. We have them now at Earl's Dodge Chrysler Jeep, North Highway 63 in West Plains, during the big finish of 2012, where buying a vehicle is simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 51 degrees. Later on, we have a low around 35 and mostly clear on Sunday. It'll be mostly sunny out there with a high near 54. Sunday night, we have a low around 39. Monday, partly sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Folks, we post up things up on our Facebook and our website sites routinely. And it's different content on both. So I would really like to see you get to both websites, because I think you'll find that the information there is unique to both sites. The first is americasvoicenow.org, and the second is facebook.com/America's Voice Now. When you get onto America's Voice Now on Facebook, you have an opportunity to read unique information, watch videos that we post up about interesting things and issues. And in addition to that, we are kicking off our YouTube channel, where we'll be posting up live all of our shows as well. So, well, they won't be live, but they'll be recorded shows. So do us a favor and go over there and watch those videos, because the more those videos get watched, the more it draws SEO or search engines to those videos, and the more activity you get. Hopefully we can get some stuff to go viral, and that'll drive some more impact and input from our listener audience. I want you to get over to Doreen's website too, which is truthfarmer.com. Truthfarmer.com. Hope you're writing this all down, folks. PRCnews.org. That's PRC, like Property Rights Conference or Congress. News.org. And that website has all kinds of blog information about our Property Rights Congress groups in our area. There's a new one starting up in Thayer. There's a new one starting up down in Arkansas. And so if you're an Arkansan, I guess that's how you say it, you can join your local property rights group to help protect your property rights down there as well, and fight back against Agenda 21 and all of its vicious and savage forms. And we want to make sure that you're participating and doing your part for that stuff as well. So, Doreen, let's pick it back up where we left off. Okay. This Agenda 21 thing, I think it is the kind of stuff that is really dangerous to us as a nation. It involves also the loss of our sovereignty as a nation to these globalists, including those at the UN, which, quite frankly, if anybody who I see with their name tied to the UN, as far as I'm concerned, is diabolical in its nature. I don't know why we're still in the UN. They hate our guts, but they suck our money up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And, they just are, they work against us at every possible chance, and yet they work against our best interest, I should say, at every possible chance, but yet they do the bidding of all of our politicians, who are really, quite frankly, in their pocket. So, it would take those politicians to bail us out of there, and yet, of course, they won't do that, because that's not against that's against their best interest, which is, I I don't know how they call themselves representatives anymore. They should just call themselves what they are, which is dukes and rulers and the elite, because they sure as hell don't represent us anymore.
Well, no, they don't, and they haven't for quite a long time. But the issue with the UN in this is that the UN is effectively the seat of global government. And what we've got going on is not just a head nod to diplomacy through, a body of quote-unquote nonviolent individuals. We have the harmonization, standardization of the entire globe under these quote-unquote equitable parameters that have been set forth to implement not only Agenda 21, but every aspect of global government by simple membership in the UN. Now, the financial arm of the UN is the WTO, the World Trade Organization. And, one of the things, Mike, that is terribly important is people can understand that there's effectively an attack on them, on their family, on their sovereignty, on our states, on our nation in total. But if we don't understand how it's working, we cannot effectively fight to slow it down or to flat stop it. So that's one of the things that is a major issue is we have to understand the implementation process and the way that this global government comes down to your backyard.
Yeah.
And that's one of the areas that I'm intensively involved in. I'm in the process of writing a book about it. Now, what the issue is that in every aspect of the implementation of Agenda 21, the desire is to establish a legal framework for enforcement.
Right.
Okay? And that's what, in healthcare, that's what we got with Obamacare.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the legal framework for enforcement on the health and partially on the population control through Obamacare. Mm-hmm. Now, the United States presents a very difficult scenario for global government because of our jurisdictional divisions.
Right.
The states have to go along with the feds who are sworn to implement Agenda 21. And the way it works is like this. This is all, predominantly it's coming through soft law. What happened was George Bush Sr. signed on to the Convention on Biodiversity. The Senate did not ratify that. So Bill Clinton, when he came in, put in Executive Order 12852 and established the President's Council on Sustainable Development. They came out with an encyclopedia of how to implement Agenda 21 in the United States without having actual, legal, established, statutory authority to implement it.
Amazing.
And then all of the agencies, we don't even get taught how government is supposed to work anymore.
Right, much less how it actually works.
Much less how it actually works, right.
Yeah.
And so this comes through the executive branch. All of the federal level agencies are sworn to implement Agenda 21, and they work with each other via guidance documents and interagency agreements to promote and support the various initiatives and desires of the other federal agencies.
Right.
So they have this appearance of separateness and an appearance of a division of authority, yet they all have an agreement to stand together to control every aspect of our lives. And then those agencies give funding to the state equivalent, and then the state equivalent works with local government to substantiate statutory authority for enforcement in all of these various areas.
Yeah.
And it's a trickle-down tyranny is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, how to fight that is to expose it. And we have actually, there's been some work being done during the off-session time with our Missouri legislators to put in several bills that are mirrors of the Alabama legislation which passed and was signed by the governor that precludes any aspect of Agenda 21 that is actually traceable to Agenda 21 from being made law within the state.
It's amazing.
So we've got that in process here. And Representative Lyle Rowland has pre-filed a bill for the legislative session. And if we can get that done, Mike, if we can get it done here, everything that is destructive to our individual freedoms within the state of Missouri can be traced to Agenda 21. Everything.
Right.
You know, because it's all about controlling your ability to sustain yourself.
Right.
Okay? In the literal sense of the word. You know, and this thing has weaseled itself into our communities and goes through, really, it's kind of a shadowy government faction. There's non-governmental organizations that work with regional government, who then work with county government, who work with city government to establish, quote-unquote, sustainable cities to control, like smart growth is one of the issues, changing our governmental structure so we're no longer dealing with representatives, we're dealing with entities in charge of aspects who are not our elected representatives and who are not capable of being held accountable.
Right. And that's the problem, is accountability.
Yes.
We don't have any control over these people who are making the decisions that affect every moment of every breathing second of our lives.
Right. And you have code enforcers, you have this entire plethora, like an army of bureaucrats with a boatload of paperwork who impede your ability to do what you need to do to sustain yourself and your family. And, you know, there are so many different aspects of this. Now, Tom DeWeese is a phenomenal fighter on Agenda 21. The freedomadvocates.org has an awful lot of information on it. But there are so many aspects of this that people tend to focus on one area. Now, Ray Cuneo, who is we're blessed to have him in Missouri here, he is the king of the planning and zoning aspect of Agenda 21. Mm-hmm. Joan Vion, who passed away, had the financial implementation side of Agenda 21 down better than anyone on the face of the planet. And if your listeners want a real education...
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. I'm on a rant.
Chantilly's Artisan Bakery will be open Monday, Christmas Eve from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you can come by and get a treat for yourself or that special someone. Chantilly's uses organic, locally sourced, natural ingredients for the highest quality product. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you every day. Call ahead 255-2253 or stop by number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square, downtown West Plains. Don't forget, Chantilly's Artisan Bakery will be open Monday, Christmas Eve.
Can you tell if the surfaces in this kitchen are crawling with bacteria that could cause chronic arthritis? Listen. You can't see it either. Wash surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water while preparing food, especially when handling raw meats or eggs. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
If you're a homeowner facing foreclosure and a so-called loan modification expert asks you for an upfront payment, run, and run fast. Be aware of promises that can't be kept, like,
I guarantee to save your home.
We can significantly lower your mortgage payment.
Protect yourself from foreclosure scams. Assistance from a HUD-approved housing counselor is your assurance that the information is trustworthy, and it's free. Visit www.hud.gov/fair housing.
A message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Okay, we're back after that break, folks. Time is 8:19 in the morning. Just want to remind those folks that are out there listening to support our supporters and our advertisers. Please make sure that you are working with those guys. We have the battery station over at 303 Washington Avenue here in West Plains, 257-7799. They are a big supporter of ours, and they're open today on Saturday. It's new for them. They've never been open on Saturdays before, so please make sure that you get over there to see them. They also are wrapping up their 91st Airborne Cavalry Hatchet Squadron Troop Drive. So we need goods and products to send over to our troops over there in Afghanistan. If you can participate or assist or drop off some goods and products that they can ship over to our guys over there, that would be greatly appreciated. We would really appreciate it, and I guarantee you our guys in Afghanistan would. You can get to the battery station, 303 Washington Avenue, batterystation.com, or you can call them at 257-7799. Ask for Kevin and tell him Mike sent you from America's Voice. Get a hold of Bill Stone from Stone Construction at 2930116. He can help build you a unsustainable man cave, and he does remodeling of unsustainable man caves as well. So make sure that if you are considering doing a remodeling of your unsustainable environment, you get a hold of Bill, because he will be able to help you out. He's been doing this for 40 years, long-time listener, long-time friend of our show, and make sure that you get a hold of him at 2930116. He's a great fella and been doing construction for 40 years, so you won't find anybody who's more experienced. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, who is open on Saturday, or on Christmas Eve, this Monday, so that you can pick up those things that you've ordered from her and that kind of thing, which is unusual. She's not normally open on Mondays. 255-2253 if you'd like to put in a special order with her. She is the best bakery within 100 miles, and I promise you that's the truth. People come here, by the way, from Springfield to order stuff from her. She's that good. And then Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. And you can get a hold of Brian down there at 870-492-4030. That's 870-492-4030. Our phone lines are sponsored by Wits End, a classic barbershop. You step into that barbershop and you feel like you just stepped back about 75 years. It's a real old world environment, does a great job cutting hair. He's only $10. And not to mention the fact that he does this hot lather shave with a straight razor that you just haven't seen in 50 years anyway. And great place to go. Nice conversation, good warm atmosphere. You'll really enjoy it. So make sure that you see Jason here on the square at Wits End Classic Barbershop. Okay, we've got our phone lines open at 257-1111. That's 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. If you'd like to comment on our Agenda 21 topic today, or anything related to the Property Rights Congress group, or anything related to Doreen's TruthFarmer.com website, please feel free to call us on the Wits End Classic Barber Hair Hotline, 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. We're taking your calls. Okay, that's enough of the house cleaning.
You did a good job.
It's hard to get all that stuff in sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
And rather than try to slice it all up in different times, it's easier to just run it all together. So
absolutely.
Hey, that's just the way it works.
Yep.
So I was on the PRC news site, and you have a lot of information on there about the issues that are going on around us, including the Missouri government contracts issue.
Yes.
And so can you tell us just kind of a little bit about that?
Okay, well, what the PRCnews.org site is geared to is to developing a coalition across the entire state of Missouri, and also in concert with some of the groups across the nation, to effectively fight and exchange information so that people are educated on what's going on and are able to contact people who know how to effectively fight any particular issue, so that we can control our government
right
the way that we are supposed to, Mike. And there's a number of links across the top of the page. It's really, this is a nascent site. I'm still working on it. I don't have everything all together on it. But the idea is to get people in contact with groups in their area who will work with them on issues that are regulatory or legislative in nature that are constraining their freedoms, particularly geared towards private property.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, this ties in so well with our Restore Missouri project because the goal of Restore Missouri is to drive legislative action. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why we can't be a not-for-profit organization, because one of the limits of not-for-profit is that you can't use that organization to drive legislative change. And so we can't become a nonprofit for that specific reason, because that is exactly the goal.
Well, okay.
Our goal is to go to politicians and hand them legislation pre-written that says do this, and if you don't, we're going to make sure you never get elected again.
Well, here's the thing. There's also the Missouri Leadership Group, which I'm involved with, and this is a number of groups across the state. And we go up there usually at the very beginning of the session, the first day of the session, and we go have a little rally, discuss the main topics that we know that we are either going to be fighting for or against.
Right.
And then we go into each of our representatives and say, hi, we're from the people. We're here to help.
We're here to help.
Yes.
Turn that language around on them.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that. I'll tell you what, when you go up there, I want to go up with you next time.
Absolutely.
So let me know in advance when you're going to do that, because I for sure would like to, and I'm sure we might be able to get a few of our listeners to come with us and present our Restore Missouri project to them. When Tim Jones did that recent tour around here, he's the new Speaker of the House, I presented him with a Restore Missouri kind of an agenda, if you will, or an outline. Mm-hmm. And I have to actually contact him and speak with him about this right-to-work legislation that's been instituted, because we asked him about right-to-work here, and he said, well, we have a veto-proof majority in both House and Senate, but we don't think that the governor will sign it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, but isn't that why we have a veto-proof majority?
Right, exactly.
Well, what's the point of carrying a gun when you're surrounded by lions and not shooting it? I mean, duh.
Well, the right to work legislation has, Chuck Ferguson was running that for, I think it was 3 years in a row.
I know.
All it comes down to is the monetary strings that unions are able to pull on the various representatives.
Well, the other reason the reason I like right to work is that it also encourages employers to come here. Forget the fact that we've already got people wrapped up in the unions who want to get out. What right to work does is it allows companies who are considering getting out of places like California or New York or Connecticut and those types of states where they're under a tremendous regulatory burden and a tremendous tax burden. And they're saying, we got to get out of here so that we can keep our business alive. And where can we go and take a manufacturing plant and renovate it or turn it or build a new plant, which would be completely unsustainable under Agenda 21 because it's brick and mortar. Right. And where can we build a plant? Well, guess what? We've got all of these industrial places around here, like we have at the airport over here. We've got lots and lots and lots of skilled labor and unskilled labor too. And so we want the jobs here. But right to work forces these companies to say, you know what, let's just look elsewhere because there's 24 other states we could go to that have right to work. And so they scratch Missouri off the list right away, immediately, because we're not part of the right to work movement. And so we immediately get discarded off the list, and they never even consider us. And then they go to states like Oklahoma, and they go to states like Texas and places like that, where right to work is considered, a mandatory thing. I mean, look, if Michigan can pass right to work, why can't we get that here in Missouri?
That's a very good question. And I mean, I was involved in that legislation for 2 years.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to is really just control in the power structure of the houses and the Senate and on the executive side of the issue. Right. There is no reason that Missouri should not be a right-to-work state.
None
there
whatsoever.
There is absolutely no reason.
I mean, the truth is we don't even have all that kind of, our unions are really not even all that strong here. So, and the hell with this governor. If he doesn't like it, that's why we have a veto-proof majority. That's what we voted for them to be there for. And to not use it is just unconscionable, in my opinion. I think that's shameful,
I agree.
I mean, if you're standing here and you're surrounded by enemies and you're going to take your gun and unload it, I don't get that. To me, that's ridiculous. So
I agree. After Michigan passed this, I think we may have a better opportunity to actually get it passed.
Well, they're already it's been pre-submitted, so I'm going to fight for that. Going forward. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, guys, we'll have Doreen with us for the last half hour of the show. If you'd like to call in and talk about Agenda 21, your thoughts, opinions, ideas about it, feel free to do that. We'll give out the numbers. It's 257-1111 and 866-554-6636.
Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. In his weekly address, President and First Lady wishing the nation a happy holidays, reminding Americans to thank our troops.
Risking their lives to defend the freedoms that we hold so dear.
And remember, when our men and women in uniform answer the call to serve, their families serve right along with them.
In the GOP address, House Speaker John Boehner urging Democrats to work with his party on a solution to the fiscal cliff. In the Penn State sex abuse scandal, a ruling regarding its ex-president.
Audio interviews given to the New Yorker magazine by former Penn State President Graham Spanier about the Jerry Sandusky sex abuse scandal will be turned over to authorities next week due to a judge's order. Spanier was interviewed after a Penn State internal report concluded that he and his top administrators tried to conceal knowledge of abuse because they were worried about the school's reputation.
Fox Radio's Pam Puso, Fox News. We report, you decide.
It's the Big Finish of 2012 event going on now at Earls Dodge Chrysler Jeep in West Plains. Check out the 2012 Chrysler Town & Country van with seating for up to 7, DVD entertainment system, and an estimated 25 miles per gallon. Or try the capable and dependable 2012 Jeep Wrangler Sport and Jeep Grand Cherokee and Dodge Durango. Be sure to check out our inventory at earlsdodgejeep.com or just come see us at North Highway 63 in West Plains, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have sunny skies, high near 51 degrees. Later on, we have a low around 35 and mostly clear on Sunday. It'll be mostly sunny out there with a high near 54. Sunday night, we have a low around 39. Monday, partly sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James. And for more information, check out our website, the all-new www.my1071thepoint.com.
Hey, folks, next Saturday, I just want to kind of give you an alert. We're going to have a special guest. These gals are gonna wake you guys up. It's called Chicks on the Right, and they have a website out there, chicksontheright.com, and they are two gals that are conservative in their thinking, and they have a huge following. I mean, like, on Facebook, they've got, 800,000 likes or something like that. So they're going to be joining with us to talk a little bit about what motivates conservative women and why they decided to be activists and participate in the conservative movement. And I think you'll enjoy that. So make sure that you're with us next Saturday to participate with them. They're going to be on with us from 8 a.m. till 9 next Saturday. All right. Tuesday, I will not be here, but Monday, Christmas Eve, I will be live. Tuesday, we'll just do a recorded show. I'm going to just take a day and spend some time with my family. And you guys know this is a grueling schedule that we do 6 days a week on this show. So every once in a while, I need to take a deep breath and take a break. And that will be mine. So, but thanks, Doreen, for being with us today. I think your topics and your knowledge about what's happening around us is voluminous, and we need people like you to be participating with not only our projects like Restore Missouri and things like that, but also educating and sharing information. That is, look, if we've got one tool, it is education and information. And with that, we can take action. But without that, we're blind to what's happening around us. And I think, the press and the media work so hard to make sure that we don't know what's going on around us, or that we're misinformed to the point where we believe that something that's happening is really something completely different than what it is. That's the idea of taking this language and making it sound so innocuous and so nice and simple, when in fact it's anything but,
Right. And, you as you're trying to run legislation through the state, or I can't even imagine what D.C. is like, because the state is just a nightmare. Trying to keep legislation clean from one end to the other is a very, very monumental task.
Yeah.
Here's one of the issues. In order to really retain our freedom, Mike, we have got to be involved with our elected representatives on the local and on the state level. Now, I am to the point where I discourage anybody trying to deal with the federal government anymore, because it's like trying to drive a concrete post into the ground with your head, But on a state level, we can affect it, and we have affected it, but we have to have boots on the ground. I'm going to give you one instance, and it's very, very illustrative of how intense this process is. One of the gentlemen that I work with quite regularly was at the Capitol. It was near the end of the session, and he called me up and said, Doreen, you have to get people involved on XYZ bill. Here's what it was. A huge omnibus bill that had inserted into it an amendment to make it a requirement for any citizen to go up and visit with their representative on any particular piece of legislation to be a registered lobbyist.
The problem with and that is a major issue in and of itself.
Right. So that got thrown into this giant omnibus bill at the end of session, and had that man not been there, it would have gone through. But we were able to activate all of these various groups across the state, get a hold of people, and get that pulled out of that omnibus bill. And had that not happened, there would be no way for us to go up there as individuals and visit with our representatives on particular pieces of legislation. We would have to be registered lobbyists, subject to all the financial disclosures and all of this. And it's about citizen activism. This is our country. This is our state. They are supposed to represent us, and the only way for us to hold them accountable is to be involved with them.
Right. Well, and that is the problem, is that they feel like it's their role and right to make decisions on our behalf. Mm-hmm. Even though we give them input and tell them what we want, they go about and do the exact opposite anyway. Claire McCaskill, I'm reminded of this when I keep hearing her talking about gun control. Missouri doesn't want gun control. I mean, they may want it in Kansas City and they may want it in St. Louis, but the vast majority of Missouri does not want gun control, just like we didn't want the Health Care Act. Right. And she went ahead and voted for it anyway because she said, well, what you want doesn't really matter. I know better because I've got all this other knowledge that you're not privy to. Hey, you know what? Take your knowledge and go sideways with it. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't represent us, get the hell out of the job.
I agree.
And I've had it with politicians who stand there and promise us, that they're going to do a fair and equitable job representing us. But the minute they get to D.C., they go ahead and betray us as if we were nothing more than a tool to be used to gain their whatever the position is that they're after. I'm just fed up and disgusted with it.
Right, a position of power or an influence that allows them to profiteer on our back.
Exactly, and that is exactly what it is. It's piracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's piracy and profiteering. And, Joanne was great at that. And she did it for 17 years. And, folks, if you're not out there pushing for Parker to be the one candidate that goes and runs in this new election, you're listening to the wrong radio show. I don't want that guy, Jason, what's his name? Smith. I tell you what, if they put Jason Smith on there, just because he's her handpicked dog, I'm voting Democrat. I'm going to vote Democratic if Jason Smith is the named candidate, because I'm going to send a message, even if it's just with my one single lousy vote, to the Republican Party that we are not going to be lied to and betrayed any longer. I've had enough, and that's it. time is done. You either represent us or get the hell out of our lives.
Right. Right.
And that's it, folks. We've got to take a stand and really start acting strongly here. We can no longer stand on the sidelines and say, well, somebody else will take care of it. There is nobody else. We are it.
We're the last line of defense.
We are the last line of defense. Yeah. You know, the enemy has come through the wire, and it is time for, it is time for us to pick up the weapons of hand-to-hand combat and take action.
Yes.
You know, the barbarians have broken through the wire, and they are eating our children.
Well, it's, the issue is that it's politics as usual. And politics as usual has gotten us to the point that we're at.
Yeah, they feel like they have no responsibility to us at all. And it's been going on like this a long time. And, the United States of apathy has allowed this to go to the point where it's almost reached the point where we are living in a police state and they're making all of our decisions for us. As soon as you buck the system, they take you out.
Right. Right.
And we need to stop that. We've got to end it right here, right now. This is the end game. There's no position to. We are cornered. Our backs are up against the ocean, and there's nowhere else to go.
No, there's got to be a line in the sand. And if we cannot have actual constitutional representative government, if we allow the parties to control that, and then they just play partisan politics off of each other, when this tyranny that we're dealing with is a bipartisan effort.
Absolutely.
And, as with Agenda 21, I mean, it's a perfect
They're all in on it. Absolutely.
Yeah. They just, they're the same coin. You got heads or tails, and they try to keep us divided along party lines.
Right.
When that issue is actually irrelevant.
It's no different than the argument they give us about rich versus poor, black versus white, brown versus black, white versus brown. Right. Whether it's all of the same nonsense, folks. They just keep us infighting amongst ourselves so that we're not paying attention while the sheep is running around the outside, while the wolf is running around the outside of the herd and snatching off the prize sheep. Yes. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yes. Yes, so, I mean, this will be an interesting issue with the planned retirement of Joanne Emerson and the way that the Republican Party can
dictate who's going to
get as a representative.
That's the part that just ticks me off the most, is the fact that they think we're stupid enough to believe that this was all just coincidental. If you believe in the coincidental version of history, folks, you are an absolute fool. And that's the simple truth. There is nothing in our political world that is not planned and well orchestrated. Sometimes it blows up in their face like Benghazi, but most of the time they get away with it. And the simple reality is that it is up to us to say, we are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to be sunshine patriots. We're going to stand here, and if it means it, we're going to fight to the death to retain our republic. We must do that, people.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I think that people could do is go and, visit with their Republican county
commissioners.
Party. Yeah. Go in there, talk to them, let them know your wishes.
Absolutely. Write them, call them, email them, get a hold of them any way you can, and make sure you make it very plain and clear that you expect them to put Parker up as the representative. He's the one who spent all the time, money, effort, and energy to fight in the primaries to win that seat. So he's the one, frankly, who is entitled. And I have to tell you why I want Parker. Because the party doesn't want him. That's the simple truth. The party doesn't want him, and that's exactly why I do. The party does want Jason Smith, and that's exactly why I don't.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, you know what? It's like the old phrase, if everybody's mad at me, I know I'm doing my job right. Because the truth is, those people who are angry at you or disagree with you only have their own agenda at bay, and that's all that really their interest is meeting their agenda. If the Republican Party right now, which as far as I'm concerned is so corrupted, they no longer represent us. Mm-hmm. If they want Jason Smith, I don't. If they don't want Bob Parker, I do.
Well, they absolutely do not want Bob Parker because he will not be controlled by the party wishes.
And they use the excuse, well, he can't raise money and he's not going to get reelected. Bunk. Let me tell you something. The incumbent can always raise money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the simple truth. And you know what? I believe that Parker is the right guy for the job because I know him, and I happen to know that I believe he's going to do the right thing when he's up there and not fall prey to their machinations about, manipulation and trying to turn him into a party lapdog.
Right.
And I guarantee you that it will be the other way around with Jason Smith. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. I also am for Parker, Mike, but I'm not sure that we can have a fair election anymore. I just don't.
Well, that's true. But it's our job to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that the Republican Party is nominating Parker as the guy and not Jason Smith. Folks, if you didn't hear this news, Joanne Emerson took Jason Smith to Washington and showed him around like the chick under her wing to all of the people over in the House, all of the people over in the Senate. She walked him around and introduced him as if to say, this is the guy who I've chosen to succeed me. And the simple truth is, that in and of itself is treasonous to the citizens and the voters in the 8th District, because she's not taking our choices at heart. She's choosing to do what the party has told her to do, and that is treason. Go ahead. I'm sorry. This whole topic just gets me so smoking mad. Every time I think about it, my blood starts to boil.
Right. Well, I just wondered. I believe that Claire McCaskill wound up reelected, and because of voter fraud, I don't believe she. And I feel the same way about Obama.
Right.
And I'm afraid that I feel like most of the men that wind up going to Washington get convinced that the world is against us and we can't fight it, and so you may as well go along with it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you there. And the only difference is with Parker, I believe that we've got an opportunity for a guy to stand in there and say, you know what, I'm not buying into it. He's knowledgeable enough about what's going on around us that I think when he gets there, he'll do the right thing. And I can tell you this, Jason Long won't do the right thing because he's already been corrupted by the party. So if you want a guy who will get in there and 18 seconds after he's voted in or sworn in, he starts doing the wrong thing, you go ahead with Jason Smith. If you want the guy who will do the right job, irrespective of what the party tells him that they want, that's where you get Bob Parker. And that's the truth. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. We'll take your calls. If you've got any quick comments, you're going to have to call in and just hit your question real fast. You can call us on the Wits End Hair Hotline at 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. We'll be back in just a moment.
The holidays are here. Come to Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance to find the special gifts that will really be appreciated. We have a variety of stocking stuffers ranging from Kaito radios and life straws to wave shields for your cell phone. We also have Berkey and Katadyn water filters for the health-conscious person. Also, Wise Foods and Lodge cookware to make delicious meals for the whole family. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, located a half-mile east of Walmart on Highway 62 in Mountain Home. 870-492-4030.
Hello, everyone. This is Steve Largent. On behalf of my wife, Karen, and our family, we'd like to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Hi, this is Mark Vail. I'm one of the crew here at the Ozarks Best News Talk, 107.1 The Point, part of Cooper and Company, and I join you from time to time on the Trading Post. Along with my wife, Lisa, I'd like to wish you and yours and your family a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Looking forward to 2013 and beyond.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, we're back from that break. We've got about 9 minutes left to the end of the show. Suddenly our phone lines lit up. I don't know why you guys don't call in earlier. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yeah, Mike, the way I see that election, and maybe things are different, but here's the thing. She was elected and certified as first, and Parker was elected, not elected, but certified as second.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you there?
Yeah.
Anyway, if she turned down the seat before she even got the seat, there's no argument there.
Exactly. I frankly think that, and I wish I had the resources and the money to do it, I'd file a court injunction to bar her from actually swearing in, because then that would take that out of the hands of the political party and put it back into the hands of the citizens to say, wait a second, if she's vacated the seat and abdicated it before she's even sworn in, then she's never, it's like a marriage. It was never consummated.
The election's not over, okay? Say that I won the race, okay? And I said, no, I forfeited. I don't want the medal. You're going to go to the guy that was second,
right?
And in this case, it just happened to be a Republican, which ought to make the party thrilled to death.
Sure, sure. Hey,
and another thing I wanted to hit on.
You got to be quick.
You say go see these Republicans and call this Republican and this Republican and stuff like that. You should speak to the Democrats out there, too, because they're all in this big mess, and the Democrats need to call the Democrats and get on their butt, too.
Well, there you go. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye. Doreen, I'm sorry, did you want to comment on that?
Well, I think that an injunction would be an interesting avenue to pursue.
I don't have the financial wherewithal to pull it off. I wish I did. By the way, I got a call while we were on the break there from somebody who said that they just got a Christmas card from Jason Smith. He's already campaigning.
Yes.
So, folks, if you're not aware of that fact, he's already out there campaigning as if he's already a named candidate, and that to me is just abhorrent. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, calling from the hinterlands of Arkansas, Mike.
All righty.
Hey, listen, regarding sustainable communities, I like to act upon statements of those in authority, like George Bush 41.
Right.
As for me and my colleagues, not going to do, wouldn't be prudent to move into sustainable communities. And I want to say, God bless Doreen. She has done this for about 20 years. I mean, she is one committed chick there.
A tireless fighter. Absolutely.
Amen. And I tell you, the labor is great and workers are few, and she is definitely one of the few. Okay. Now, I waded through 10, 15 years ago with these documents. You can't ever read them all. No. But I see a reoccurring theme of worshiping the creation rather than the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears that they have, what I see here is taking the patriarchal dominion of man over Mother Nature and reverse that role into nature being authority over man and causing him to be a virtual slave. I'd like to know Doreen's thoughts on that.
That's absolutely correct.
Hey, thank you, by the way.
That's absolutely correct. It's Gaia worship. It's worshiping the creation over the Creator, and it's reversing history and our ability to use nature wisely to enhance our lives.
Right.
And
we're subject to nature, not the other way around.
Absolutely. And, the plan is to herd us into these easily controlled communities where our access to food is also very easily controlled.
Sure. Control the food, you control the people.
Right, exactly. And here's kind of the deal. They're making everything so much more difficult insofar as agriculture and being able to participate and to profit from your labor in that realm. And we have to have agriculture to have civilization, Mike.
Yeah, I got you.
So we've lost that. We've got less than 2% of the nation engaged in agriculture, and less than 0.5%.
Yeah, and we're about to lose 500 and some odd thousand family farms with this new death tax. It affects 25% of all the farms in the country.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just shameful. Callers, if you want to call in, we got 4 minutes left. 257-1111, 866-554-6636. Call in, make your question known, and then jump off, and we'll let Doreen answer it. So, we've got that next Saturday. We've got Chicks on the Right. On Wednesday, I have Noel Flasterstein coming on. He is an attorney and a gun rights specialist. And he'll be joining us on Wednesday, the day after Christmas. So make sure that you're here with us that day as well. That'll be on Wednesday. So, Doreen, any other topics that we want to wrap off?
Well, regarding the Parker issue, one of the things that we have got to work on a state level is returning to paper ballots, actually doing what Germany is doing with complete transparency.
Yep.
Where the votes are counted and by hand, there's videotape, it's streamed online, all the ballots are scanned in PDF, anybody can download it, anybody can watch it, and we have full accountability and transparency in that process. Because
I absolutely agree. This voter fraud thing is just out of control, and it's done now systemically in the electronic voting process.
Absolutely.
We have absolutely no control over. Once those votes are cast and they're sucked up into the ether, we have no idea how they're manipulated, and we got to take somebody's word for it. And frankly, I don't trust anybody.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: we can't send machines to jail, but we sure as heck can send people to jail.
There you go. Good example or good analogy.
So if we have accountability in our voting, then it actually encourages us to participate in the process.
Sure.
Otherwise, I have a very difficult time encouraging anyone to participate in that process because it's kind of a waste of gas.
Right. I agree. I mean, and people don't have faith in it anymore. I mean, everywhere you go, people say, I'm not going to vote. It doesn't matter. And you got to give credence. I mean, I can provide a fair argument against that it does matter. But honestly, if it's out of our control once the vote is cast, we don't really know if it matters anymore.
Absolutely.
And that's wrong. I mean, if people don't have faith in the voter system, then they basically sit home. Did you know that only 14% of the eligible electorate voted in the Midwest this last election?
Right.
Folks, it's because of that Obama won, number one, because not enough people got out there. And the reason they're not going out there is because they don't think it matters.
Right. And, and that is the critical issue. If people can be assured that it matters, then it encourages their participation.
Sure, exactly.
Otherwise, here we sit and we're just wasting our time with all of these issues because whoever they want wins.
Yep, I got it.
And so anyway, that's one of the issues that I think that, all of the groups in the state who are concerned with integrity in any way, shape, or form need to push our state to go to that model of voting. And it won't go into effect before the special election here for our representative. But, it needs to be done because there is no accountability with a machine.
No, that's absolutely true. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for joining us. We're down to our last 30 seconds.
Alrighty.
I want to thank you very much for spending the time with us and our listeners today. You're a great resource and so knowledgeable about these topics, and I enjoy having an opportunity to have you on the show, and I hope you'll come back with us, maybe during the week one time, too, because we have kind of a different listenership. So if you'd come back during the week one day, that would be wonderful, too.
Okay, well, I thank you for having me, and I appreciate your listeners listening to the show, and if people can, support the groups that support their freedom, I think that would be the best way to fight back against this.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bless you.
Right,
Bye-bye.
bless you. Folks, you can find Doreen's website by going to prcnews.org. That's for the Property Rights Congress. And also you can find her blog where she talks about all of these food issues. You can find that by going to truthfarmer.com. That's truthfarmer.com. Food freedom or fight. That's the logo there. And you can support her by donating there. You can also go to our website where we have some cross links and stuff like that. Our site is americasvoicenow.org. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. If you'd like to share our videos with folks, you can send them directly to our website, or you can send them to our new YouTube page at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. We are posting our live streaming video shows up there, and they'll be up there as we get them wrapped up. We're starting to load them up as we go. It takes a lot of time to get that stuff up there, but that's the deal. Hey, listen, we'll see you on Monday morning, Christmas Eve, bright and early at 8 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend. Love you guys. I appreciate your support.
107.1 The Point, KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.